The
Yo,
how goes it?
good, chilling, playing Destiny.
Ooh, sorry to hear that.
Uh, you know,
Sorry to fucking hear that. I just got to work, so I didn't get to write anything about Cuba.
you just got to work. Goddamn, bro.
So because of that, I figured let's
One
talk
thing I'm
about
excited about if I get the job is I won't have to work as much overtime.
streaming my fucking self.
Oh, sorry.
And of course, you still get OT.
I know it. Well, I probably still get it, but I don't have to do it.
No, no, no. Now you actually would have to. Never mind. You know, we'll talk later.
No, I, I'm unionized.
No, you're not.
I know.
Um. So I want to talk about Ben Shapiro.
Why? What did he do?
'Cause why not, dude?
What's the boy Shabibo saying?
Where did he get that nickname from?
No idea.
Neither did
Should be
I. I think
probably
I know.
Hassan,
You think Hassan?
if I had to guess, or Vosh, like one of the big streamers.
He's such a fucking. Okay.
Still pretty big.
He is really big. He's a debate lord.
I thought you were into that.
I don't know if I like his style of debating. I think another day we should look at that, but not today.
An actual human family is
Oh,
built of
excuse me.
multiple.
That's so loud.
What's love?
Um, this video. I don't know why it was so loud just now. Oh fuck! You're not watching a stream, are you?
I'm playing Destiny. I will watch
Uh,
stream after this.
I'll share
After
my
this
screen.
level.
Oh no, wait, it's not the screen. I gotta share like the application. That's not it. Is it this? Let me try this. Doo-doo-doo. Well, this isn't ladylike. That's weird. Let's just look at, Pembe people. He goes against AOC. We can look at that. That's your queen. You gonna let him talk like that?
He's just attracted to her. That's not the only reason.
You think so?
Oh, 100%.
I don't know any of these movies.
I have been presented
Oh my god, everything is so loud. Sorry, stream. Trigger alert.
with a challenge by my producer.
Let me know if the stream's loud too. It sounds loud for me.
One sec.
Oh fuck, wait. What?
It's a little bit loud, but it's not that bad.
All that matters, Mark. You excited?
Sure. I mean, if we're gonna talk about Ben Shapiro, let's do our not really, but occurring segment where we make fun of
Prager?
Prager, yeah.
Yeah, we'll end it with Prager. My idea right now is let's go do Ben Shapiro. Let's talk about abortion, and then let's talk about personhood,
Can you
and
do a Ben
then
Shapiro impression? I want to hear it right now.
I don't know. I don't watch him, so I don't really know. Like every time I
Just
hear,
he's like very nasally. He's like, well, hypothetically, you see, this is an antonym.
like, please see, this is a yeah. I can't. I'm
You
not
gotta
good
be
at impressions,
nasally.
dude.
You'll
Uh,
you gotta watch more of him, but you'll pick it up. I believe in you.
I mean, he is a fellow. Is he from New York? Where's he from?
I think he's from New York. Yeah.
He looks like, a character I've seen before.
I mean, he's short, so.
Is he like
But
my
he's
height?
short as fuck. I think he's like 5'6".
I mean, listen, I'm tiny, so I'm a big
I
boy.
know, but well, you're not even that short. You're average.
I'm pretty
There's
sure, bro.
no, I would say you're average.
I'm
There's
not picking on
there's
short people. That's all.
there's like short people, and then there's short kings. Ben Shapiro is just like a manlet because he's an asshole. But there are also short kings who are guys that are short, or girls who are cool. That's how I see the world.
All right, let's watch this. You ready?
If I said I was watching, I'd be lying to you.
You
Hold
can hear it though, right?
on. Yeah.
That's enough. Here we go.
Producers. And as you know, I love a good challenge. Today, we're going to be presented with a
Won't
series
be late on the
of
screen,
pro-abortion
but I'll do my
arguments
best.
from Bill Nye the Science Guy, who's very scientific.
Cause my sex job.
I'm going to debunk each of them.
Many, 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 many more hundreds of eggs are fertilized than.
I just want to say, I love when people how do I put this? When you live your life, you're immediately kind of shitted on for doing
Can you
it.
stream it? Sorry, can you stream it on Discord? Because it'd be a lot easier. This is where he gets owned by Bill Nye, the science guy?
Can you see it?
Uh, yes, I can, thank you.
That was a good one. Felt good. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Are you playing?
All right, I'll press play now.
Become humans.
Oh wait, fuck, you coming off. So,
Nye the Science Guy, who's very scientific.
like putting shit like this just to like immediately decredit or delegitimize, what's the word? I worked too long today again. My fucking brain is broken. What's the word, Mark?
What?
Delegitimize? It's delegitimize, right?
Yes,
All
that
right,
is a
so
word.
when content creators like delegitimize people based on them living their lives, it's pretty frustrating. Um, if you're gonna like say Bill Nye isn't a scientist, I think he has like a mechanical engineering degree or whatever. Like that's a better argument to make. But
He's
to
a
just show
scientist, though,
he is a scientist, yeah,
technically. He's a STEM
technically.
lord.
But to like play a clip like this, say like yeah, he's into science and he's having fun. Like
Oh, no. You're thinking about it wrong, dude. You gotta put yourself in Ben Shapiro's shoes, all right? You gotta switch bodies, Freaky Friday, all right? He is a fundamentalist religious person. So like anybody who lives their life not according to that is
he's Jewish, right?
he's Jewish, but he always larps like he's like Catholic or something, but
Well,
he
it's
is
weird
Jewish.
because if he's Jewish, he should be for abortion, right?
I have no input on that. You tell me, aren't you half Jewish?
Yeah, but I'm like from
You
just
should know these things.
different. No, life does not begin at conception under Jewish law. The the fetus is mere water before 40 days of gestation. Oh, yeah, okay.
All I know is
Oh,
I lost my foreskin and
okay. Um,
I I blame Judaism.
for those in stream, fuck it off, Mark. Jewish law state that life begins at conception. No, fetus is mere water. 40 days of gestation. Following this period, the fetus is considered a physical part of the pregnant individual's body, not yet having life of its own or independent. Oh, this is big. Yeah, so according to NCJW, National Council of Jewish Women, It takes 40 days. Jewish law does not consider a fetus to be alive. The Torah, Exodus, recounts the story of two men who were fighting, injured a pregnant woman, resulting in a miscarriage. Only harm done is a miscarriage, then the perpetual must pay a fine. However, if the pregnant person is gravely injured, the penalty shall be a life for a life, as in other homicides. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. So, why don't we actually look this up real quick?
Ugh. I'm okay.
When two or more parties fight and one of them pushes a pregnant woman and miscarriage results, but no other damage ensues, the one responsible should pay a fine. But if any other damage ensues, the penalty shall be life for life. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand. Yeah, so that's interesting. Off the rip, Judaism is actually for abortion up to 40 days, according to National Council of Jewish Women. Let's just pull another source just to verify.
Yeah, dude.
My Jewish learning.
You've been looking for a generator lately?
What?
No.
What are you saying?
Your fucking ads are just all portable generators. That was perfect.
Dude, I haven't looked for a generator in a fucking month. Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyways, in Jewish law, a fetus attains the status of a full person only at birth. Ooh, holy shit, that's fucking liberal. I'm actually surprised. I didn't know it was that liberal. Did you?
No.
Sources and the Talmud indicate prior to 40 days of gestation, the fetus has an even more limited legal status. It's mere water, same as before. At the same time, feticide, that's just an abortion, isn't it? Feticide? Feticide? The act of causing the death of a fetus is prohibited by Jewish law, though there is disagreement over the exact source of this prohibition and how serious an infraction it is. Some consider it biblical, a phrase understood to refer to a fetus. Okay, so there's a verse that says you cannot shed the blood of a man within a man. And they think that maybe that's where the law comes from. Moreover, Judaism teaches the body is ultimately the property of God, is merely on loan to human beings. Huh. Okay. As a public policy, many of the major American Jewish organizations have been vocal in support of broadening or protecting abortion access. Law ever explicitly permit abortions? Yes. Where the mother life is in danger. Some consider such an abortion not merely permissible, but mandatory. This okay. However, once the baby's head has emerged from the mother, termination is no longer allowed. Short.
Oh, go
What?
ahead. I was gonna
Uh,
say Islam has like a similar sort of belief. They don't think abortion is still a sin after, I think it's after like 100 days or something. That's when like the soul goes into the fetus. So like before that, the fetus doesn't have a soul. So it's okay to abort before that. I want to say it's 100 days. I could be wrong though. But it's also a sin, like if the fetus is causing is life threatening to the mother and you don't abort and the mom dies, that is a bigger sin. So one sin is bigger than the other. So you choose. Anyway, you want to get back to the video? I think we got it. I mean, it's all religious. Like, I don't want to offend anybody, but you know, it's kind of all
religion shouldn't dictate your policy. Religion can
yeah.
dictate your beliefs, but policy should be based on science, empirical evidence, facts, not beliefs. Because
Yeah, like these people thought they saw like a person in the sky for like 200 years, so I'm not gonna like take their word for it because
you mean the white male with the beard?
what yeah, the white guy with the beard.
I'm just making sure he says he's Jewish.
Hypothetically, in Judeo-Christian laws, abortion is considered a sin. See? Dude, my Ben Shapiro impression is fucking spot on.
Appreciate you. I can't do it, so I appreciate you.
You'll get it. I
Well,
promise.
personal life. Here we go. Israeli doctor.
I think he's
He
a
practiced
law
Judaism.
student from
He's a
Harvard.
student. Oh yeah, he has a JD from Harvard.
Yeah, I mean he's not dumb. He's just wrong and annoying.
I don't know if he's not dumb. I mean, we'll find out right now.
I mean, I don't think you graduate from Harvard and you're dumb unless you're like super lucky.
I mean, look, I could be wrong about this, but I thought the harder the school was, the easier it was to graduate.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Anyone, any Harvard alumni in chat wanna chime in?
How's it easier to get into? Wait, what? Yeah, maybe I'm just a fucking moron. Well, I guess the reason why I think that way is because I think like students get more attention in those classes. Does that make sense?
Maybe. I mean, you got to think like there's already a high barrier of entry, so the people there are already like,
Pretty smart.
yeah, to begin with. So
Yeah. I mean, okay, yeah, I agree. Like, although the people there are pretty smart, I think that they have like a lot of free roam to continue like growing, and they also get
yeah,
a lot of like focus on them. Whereas like at other colleges, you're looking at a classroom filled with people. So yeah, I'm wrong to say that. I guess yeah, I am wrong, but it just feels that way to me. I'm gonna move on. That was a bad take.
okay, dude.
I'm going to debunk each of them.
Many, 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 many more hundreds of eggs are fertilized than become humans. Eggs get fertilized, and by that I mean sperm get accepted by ova a lot. But that's not all you need. You have to attach to the uterine wall, the inside of a womb, a woman's womb. But if you're going to hold that as a standard, that is to say, if you're going to say when an egg is fertilized, it's therefore has the same rights as an individual, then whom are you going to sue? Whom are you going to imprison? Every woman who's had a fertilized egg pass through her?
Okay, stop it right there.
Hypothetically, he's making
Not
the
gonna.
argument. I want to do this. The argument he's making is a fallacy.
Why?
It's completely asinine.
Why are you
Listen,
picking
listen,
on him?
listen, just listen, just fucking
No,
listen.
Mark.
It's play
Why are you picking on him?
because it's fun. Because he deserves it.
Bullying is never okay.
He's the nerd that it's okay to bully. It's okay to bully this nerd.
No. Okay, people are watching this and they're like, "Nah, we don't bully this guy.
Bully him.
That's not what we're about, dude.
Do it.
Be better than that." All right, Mark.
All right. Well, I want to see what he's gonna say.
No, what do you think he's gonna say?
I just,
You can say it in your voice. Say it.
it's completely asinine because you're
Why?
saying hypothetically that just because a woman aborts a baby naturally, that is the same as a human doctor doing it willingly. The doctor should be punished, not the woman, of course.
But shouldn't? Wait. I'm sorry. You confuse the fuck with me.
He's gonna say like it's a natural process like to have a period or something, so you can't, you know, you can't. He's basically saying that's like a fallacy to compare the two.
Well,
It's a
yeah, I agree that
false
he's gonna
equivalent.
say. I agree he's gonna say it's a fallacy. But I guess I'm wondering why he's gonna say that because in reality, to him, they're both given life.
One is to him, one is considered natural and one is considered like intentional.
But it's still murder.
Look, dude, we'll see how he rationalizes this.
Like if there's a human nature murder, right, versus like a natural murder.
Well, I mean, it's not. I don't consider it murder either way. Like,
no, we're looking at it from his perspective, right? One is like human nature murder. The other one is intended murder, right?
sure.
But they're both still murder.
Listen, dude, are religious people, you know?
Okay, so he's making several arguments in a row. Number one, you'll notice that he says that the location of the fertilized ova is what matters, right? That once it's implanted, then presumably it is now on its way to becoming a full human life. I've noticed that his standard for abortion is not implantation. There are some politicians who believe implantation is the standard, including, for example, Newt Gingrich. That is not his standard. He has not offered a standard, you'll notice. Also, the
If you keep playing the video, I'm sure he'll offer a standard.
He just said a lot of literal nothingness. So
He's just saying that like he hasn't set a standard yet. So and plantation, they mean
there
like
was a standard. Well, I mean, there
not really. He's right about that. There really is no standard yet. But
was 20 weeks.
that's not what he said though.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not what he said, but
Yeah. And also he's saying plantation as in when the ova attaches.
to the uterine wall, yes,
Yeah.
after it's fertilized.
So at that moment, that's a human life.
Yeah, that's what
According
we
to
would
Newt.
consider conception. That's what we would consider conception.
But before that, just to be clear, there's tons of eggs that are getting fertilized. Possibly. And the body's naturally discarding them. But once it plants itself on the ovary line? Ovary.
Uterine wall.
Uterine wall. I don't know this shit, dude. This is why I have you. You're the bio kid. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. So once it gets attached to the uterine wall, that would be considered plantation, and that's what Newt is saying.
Yeah, dude.
is life.
You should take an anatomy class. You spend like a whole week learning about dicks and vaginas. It's awesome. I'd take it like 3 times.
How was that?
One time,
I don't
yeah,
care.
you don't care. You don't care. You don't care. That's fine. I didn't care either.
What time? What? What fucking time? What?
Well, you take it 3 separate times. One for like general anatomy, one for skeletal anatomy, and then one for like muscular cardiovascular anatomy.
Press play now. Thank you.
You do that.
notion that a spontaneous bodily abortion, meaning your body does not actually carry through the pregnancy, that this is treated the same way as a purposeful, deliberate abortion
fucking knew it.
is very silly.
Told you, bro. I fucking told you.
So, but just to be clear, what he is saying then, whenever the body naturally aborts, like a miscarriage, that is not to be punished, which is not what like some places are saying, right? Like some states, miscarriages are also getting questioned.
I've heard that. I've never seen it happen, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
I thought it was happening like a trigger law in Texas. But even if, okay, let's just,
I'm not sure.
okay, we won't talk about things we don't know then. But is he right with what he's saying? Is there a difference between a natural body occurrence, naturally occurring body occurrence, and an intentful abortion?
I mean, so it's tough, right? This is that philosophical area with abortion. Like, when do you consider it a human life? When do you consider it, when you give it personhood? And he's religious, so he's coming at it from his perspective.
It's weird because like the Jewish perspective is 40 days, so it's weird that he already has his approach.
Yeah, he cherry picks. All right, a lot of religious people do that.
He sounds more Christian than Jewish. I think you may want to.
I told you. Well, that's what I said. He like LARPs as like a Catholic when he's actually Jewish, but that's besides the point. I don't consider either murder. But if I were to, your body's
don't do that. Don't do that.
what? Put myself in his shoes.
Yeah, don't fall into that. Like what you're doing is falling into like a game where like you're gonna think like him, and his philosophy is fucked. So like his logic here is fucked. His logic. I mean, what you can simply say is that there is a difference between a deliberate abortion and a natural abortion. Sure, there is a difference in terms of what is triggering it, but the outcome is still the same. And that was Bill Nye's point, that who are you gonna sue, or who's gonna get in trouble in terms of a natural abortion? Yet on a deliberate abortion, you want to hold somebody accountable, and I'm sure like he's gonna bring that up.
There's a lot of gray area. So like Okay, say you're a woman and you're pregnant, but you're early enough where you don't know it. So like you just conceived, but you don't know it yet. And then let's say you suffered trauma. It's all hypothetical, but I mean it does happen. So you suffer trauma and your body naturally aborts it. You have a period, your body naturally aborts it, and this is before you even knew you were pregnant. Who is at fault for that? Is it a natural abortion or like let's say somebody hit you or something?
Well,
Is
that's
that
the
person
thing.
at fault?
According to the Judaism, it would be the person that hit them,
Right.
which I actually agree with.
But nobody knew that the person was pregnant. This is before like anybody knows you're pregnant.
But I feel like they would find out that they were pregnant at that time, wouldn't they? Maybe,
Uh,
maybe not.
a- Afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, and at that point, when they found out that they were pregnant, I think that it comes down to, well, this person caused a miscarriage, so the person that caused a miscarriage should be held accountable. I'm not saying they should be charged with murder, but I guess that's interesting, right? Like, should the person be held accountable for murder if, huh?
Yeah,
I don't see it as murder.
I don't either.
Like, to me, it's fucked, right? But then now we're taking away a woman's right to have a baby.
I mean,
It's an interesting
like you
argument,
should
I
go
think.
like assault for sure, but I don't
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
like you shouldn't get charged for murder
It
because
should be.
I don't
Yeah.
see a fetus as a human being having personhood.
This is gonna be interesting because what if we start seeing this happen?
I mean, dude, this has happened like forever, so
I know, but with like abortions going away, it's possible that there might be more like domestic violence situations.
maybe we'll see what they say. What he says.
Oh, dude, I'm sure he's gonna bring up like how different it is to be intentful and natural.
In no area of criminal law would you treat those two things the same. If you left your car in neutral and it slid down a hill and it hit somebody, that would not be treated the same thing as you taking your car, ramming your foot to the gas.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Could have.
While somebody is
I gotta
standing
law
right
degree.
behind the car. Not the same thing. As far
It's okay. It is not the same thing, but the outcome is still the same, right? And this is just like. Oh, I hate procedural people like this. Like, yes, there is a difference in the fact that there was a natural abortion versus a procedural abortion, or like somebody intentfully having an abortion. Those are two different things. I don't think there's any argument against that. A miscarriage versus abortion. Usually abortion means like it was intended to be aborted, and a miscarriage means it was an accident or something occurred naturally. Something just happened, right? Maybe something traumatic. Either way, they are different spectrums, but you have to be morally concise. That is my problem here. If you would have to be upset with the body aborting these babies because you would see them as being alive, and that is my problem here. So I I'm a little confused as to why there's a difference for him. I understand why there's a difference for me. I understand why there's a difference for Mark. Um, we see it as not being murder, right? We see it as, well, yes, there is a difference of like taking a pill or having a procedure late into your abortion or whatever you process is, because there are different processes depending on where you are in this path versus a natural abortion. Yeah, sure, they're different, but what does that matter? There is no crime there in either situation. And if you're going to say one is a crime, I think you would have to say both are a crime, wouldn't you?
Um, I guess, yeah.
It's just weird. Like you would have to call like you would have to it would be a natural death, right? But in this case, what if the mother's drinking or smoking? Like he's completely going around the situation of a miscarriage of like what if a mother does everything in their possible like in their power to have a miscarriage? I'm not sure what that would be, right? Let's say they fucking like going on roller coasters and stuff. I don't know what would cause it. But I'm just saying like a mother does everything they can, the worst possible thing they can do in order to have a miscarriage. In his mind, shouldn't that mother be held accountable? It's very confusing that he's not saying that. I don't know. I feel like he's kind of like he's missing an opportunity here because he knows how wrong he is. Like he's just glossing over it. Does that make sense? Like he's just glossing over the entire like logical premise that Bill Nye said. Dude, just 2 minutes in. This is gonna be a long video, I think.
As far as who'd be punished, the entire pro-life movement has made the point that it's the abortion doctor who should theoretically be punished in these cases, since he's part of essentially an abortion mill.
Nobody likes abortion.
Hold on, what?
As while somebody is standing right behind the car, not the same thing. As far as who'd be punished, the entire pro-life movement has made the point that it's the abortion doctor who should theoretically be punished in these cases, since he's part of essentially an abortion mill.
What the fuck is an abortion mill?
It's the abortion industrial complex. You haven't heard?
Bro, can you like even I think even I would be against that if I saw that. Just like go get an abortion. It just feels weird.
Yeah, dude.
Imagine like seeing signs of that.
There's abortion defense contractors and shit.
Yeah, dude. Maybe this guy's like super pro war, isn't he?
Probably.
Bro, what the fuck? These fucking people are so like there's no like I'm just frustrated. I'm just thinking like this person in front of us went to fucking Harvard, got a JD somehow, and then for him to have like this logic game that he's trying to play, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. Like an abortion mill, bro. Like there isn't a bunch of fucking doctors like saying, "Hey, come here to get an abortion." Like an abortion's a pretty serious thing. Like very few women take it in the way that Ben Shapiro is saying. Meaning, women take an abortion seriously. It's a serious decision. It's not like they're fucking just like having sex and just having abortions. Like this person is just imaginary that they want to make up. Instead, they just want like people to like ruin their lives when they're trying to fix it. All over the place. So confusing.
Nobody likes abortion.
Sorry, this motherfucker. Oh, Bill Nye's about to say what I just said. That's crazy. But literally, this is the same person who's probably blaming like black people for being poor, like or Hispanics for being poor. Like it's their fault that
Oh, he doesn't believe in systemic racism. He thinks it's a lie.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's just gonna believe in like wherever you're born doesn't actually dictate your opportunities that you have in life. Because someone like literally a minority born in Kansas is the same as a minority born in New York. Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you serious, bro? If you think that, you are just think you are a flawed human. And dude, what's crazy is like he's a lawyer, or he has a JD at least. Like empirical evidence proves that like the zip code you're born in is extremely important in terms of how your life is going to turn out. Your zip code that you're born in is more important than your fucking genes.
That's simply an asinine statement to make. This is America. We live in the home of the free, and the zip code does not determine your life goals. You can go out and do whatever you want. It's the American dream.
Yeah. Predicting lifespan is an exact science. Currently estimated, U.S. cities with the highest life expectancy gaps.
And if your neighborhood is really that bad, where you have no economic upward mobility, you can simply just move. Just move to a different area.
Dude, I know I feel that way a little bit about like New York City. Don't get me wrong, but I do not feel that way about like fucking Pennsylvania, Ohio, the Midwest. Like, it's different when you're like barely making it by, getting paid minimum wage in New York City. Like that person is much better built to go live in the Midwest, right? They can. I think that like them getting up and moving is a little bit more accessible because you live in a place where travel is a little bit easier. I'm not gonna say that about somebody in fucking North Dakota, dude. Minority in North Dakota, where did they go? California? With what money?
Yeah.
It's just different. It's so different.
What? Why is Wisconsin black? What does black mean? No data? Is that what that means?
Calculated.
Oh, okay. Wisconsin just got annexed.
I mean, you can see that the life expectancy is shit.
Oh yeah, this was the fucking map you were looking for last time.
It's kind of annoying.
It came full circle, dude.
Yeah, it came full circle from last video.
Yeah.
Look at this though.
That's pretty wild. I mean, yeah, I kind of expected that, so yeah.
Dude, like,
And
and
it's
just so you know, like, this place in California is a fucking desert, dude. So the desert of California is like being born anywhere in Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Oh, I was there on Pennsylvania on their bus. I'm wrong about that. They're alright.
the
Look at the
PA's okay.
Northeast.
They're chilling. Yeah, and it's not like these people are like genetically fucking predisposed to living shorter lives. It's literally
Where they're
they're
born.
they're poor. Yeah, they have less access to healthcare, less access to they live in fucking food deserts. You know what I mean? Like it's tough.
And people will say, go ahead, sorry.
No, you got it. Go.
People will say, like, make better choices, eat better food. Like, bro, like, you think
Yeah,
that
dude.
people down here are just fucking, like, the worst people in the world? Like,
I
making the
live
worst decisions every time, huh?
I live in a 20-mile radius of a fucking McDonald's and a fucking Burger King. All right, what am I supposed to eat? The fucking Impossible Burger? That's my healthy choice.
Yeah, and you just get high sodium in, like, a few weeks.
Uh,
Like, high blood pressure. Like, it's just wild, dude. It's such a wild statement. I just don't fucking get it. It's so confusing to me. And especially when I look at this map, like, I feel bad. Like, I feel horrible knowing that people are born down here and then they fucking, like, stay in their states. Like,
mhm.
they're like, people down here are so happy to be from down here. Then it's
Or
what sucks is, like, we have, like, if you look in the Northeast where, like, taxes are way fucking higher, right? We also have people living way longer. Higher
you said
income, higher taxes. It is interesting to see, like,
yeah.
Kansas and, like, Nebraska, Wyoming. Why are those states? I wonder. I'm honestly gonna think that there's just less minorities here, and and because of that, there's less opportunity. There's less data to be collected. Down here, I'm saying, I guess, let me say it differently. In the South, there's more minorities, and because there's more minorities and there is systemic racism, it's much more obvious down here to see it because of certain zip codes having a higher minority ratio. Whereas there might be less minorities in these states, like Wyoming, Nebraska, in terms of density, and because of that, there isn't so much systemic racism. It's more about just, like, this where genes come into play, um, similar opportunities as everybody else. Down here, like, if you're white born, you're probably gonna have a much better opportunity to live longer than if you're a minority. And it's also no surprise that these are also some of the most impoverished states in this country. And when you look at poverty by ratio, by per capita in terms of minorities, minorities are much more likely to be impoverished than a white born citizen. Right, Mark?
Yeah.
So what the fuck's he saying? No, okay, I forgot, dude. We just went on a whole tangent. This dude said abortion mill. That kind of ticked me off. Like, I hate that they think that just women are just, or doctors are just like, yeah, come and get an abortion. Like, bro, there's like a whole fucking therapy piece of having an abortion. It's not like they just walk in and just the procedure is done. Like, they have a talking to. It's like, hey, you know what you're about to do. Like, you understand what's about to happen. Just to minimize what an abortion is so frustrating. Like, I'm just gonna press play.
Abortion.
Wait, stop. Okay, so why? Why? Really? It's fine. No.
Go back.
Nobody likes abortion.
Wait, stop. Okay, so why? Why? Really?
Why? Explain it. Why does nobody like an abortion? If, according to liberals,
Fine. What's the problem? He just said that it's basically the same thing as a naturally occurring thing, and half the
Yeah, because nobody likes the naturally occurring thing either, bro.
um, I I genuinely don't think this guy understands how like female
He,
anatomy works, and he's made this obvious like in a couple of ways. I don't think he understands how like women or people with vaginas. I don't think he understands how their anatomy works.
why are you saying that though?
Uh, Well, he just asked, why does nobody like abortions? Well, abortions can cause infertility. They can cause heavy periods. Like they have issues. They can even cause, if they're done wrong, they can cause ovarian cancer. So that's why.
It's kind of wild that like he's acting as if it's known that people enjoy having abortions, which isn't the case. This is just the imaginary person that every fucking Twitter bot makes, you know?
Every like conservative, I think in their mind, they think like it's like Starbucks to where if you get like 9 abortions, your 10th one is free. Like you collect stars. I think
Yeah,
that
like
in their mind, that's what they think it is.
they're so fucking consumerist and capitalist that like
Yeah.
they just see abortion as another capitalist approach. And to them it's like, no, we can't be capitalist there. That's a human life. That's kind of a interesting way. Like they have like rewards programs and shit. That's very funny. It's not funny. It's actually sad, but fuck, man.
Oh,
Let's see what he has to say.
The time just kind of slides out, whatever. Why? Why does nobody like abortion? Explain.
Wait, sorry, slides out. So let me go back.
No.
Nobody likes abortion.
Wait, stop. Okay, so why? Why? Really? It's fine. What's the problem? He's just said that it's basically the same thing as a naturally occurring thing, and half the time just kind of slides out and whatever. Why?
why?
What do you mean? Naturally, it just slides out, bro.
Dude, I'm literally telling you, he doesn't understand how vaginas work.
Like a woman gets her period, you mean? Fucking, oh, okay, dude.
Why does nobody like abortion?
A JD, by the way, from Harvard. Congratulations. Let's just give him. Good job, dude. Parents must be proud.
Explain.
But you can't tell somebody what to do. I mean, she has rights over this, especially if she doesn't like the guy that got her pregnant.
Okay, stop that right there.
Before he even gets into this, because I feel like I know what he's going to say. What Bill Nye is simply saying is that a woman has rights over what's going on in her body because it's their body. There's several arguments philosophically, but at the end of the day, we could say that there is a point in time when a fetus does start to gain rights and gain personhood, whether that's at birth or 20 weeks. That's up for debate, but there's definitely a range there, right? If we're looking at this objectively, there is a range, which I think it's fair to say. And you can argue whatever you believe to be true. That's where we could just look at science, and we would have to accept some of the science. But
Yeah,
huh?
I was gonna say a lot of science is like generally like 20 to 22 weeks. That's what a lot of papers I've read, that's what they're
Yeah,
concluding.
and that's
So
what I was
around
gonna
that
say.
area, which I'm okay with, that makes sense to me. So
Yeah, like if you say that if Ben Shapiro was to sit here and say after 22 weeks that fetus is now a person, that is an argument that is much harder to argue against. That's when I would start approaching this, that a woman has rights, that is their body, they can do as they please with that body, because the fetus, this fucking clump of cells that now is what you would consider a baby, because they can live outside of the womb on their own. They're renting a space, and the landlord doesn't want them there. They're a squatter, and if the landlord doesn't want them there, they're allowed to evict them. This is like a famous philosophical case from Thomas, I believe, where she wrote about this. And it's if you think about it, because a woman is their own person, they have body autonomy. You cannot force a woman to have a baby. That's outrageous. But at the very least, you can have an argument of when that right exists between 20 weeks and birth. I can at least understand the argument, because now we are talking about personhood. Now we are talking about when do we have rights as a human. But what he is saying is that at conception, which makes no sense. There's nothing here that makes any sense. So yes, the majority of abortions, by the way, let's just look this up real quick. Since the majority of abortions happen before the 20th week, if they don't like the guy, they can simply just have an abortion because it's just a clump of cells. It's nothing.
Didn't Kansas just pass legislation to secure abortions permit or something?
That's why I
Something
wanted
happened?
to do this. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. We'll get to that later, I guess.
9 out of 10 abortions happen before 12 weeks of pregnancy in many high-income countries. That's what the data says in Pew Research. The exact answer is hard to come by. CDC and try to measure this with these different measures. What are you trying to measure?
Excuse
Sorry.
me.
Oh, like if it should be legal or not? Oh, we're having a lot less abortions too. Well, I mean, we're also like having less kids and what are most common types of abortions? Pills, physician's office, 3 or more. Oh, it's such a small amount. Would you look at that? Wow, they don't say what trimester though. In 2019, 93% of abortions occurred during the first trimester. That is at or before 13 weeks of gestation, according to the CDC. Which, by the way, this motherfucker's religion, his own religion says 40 days. I don't understand this argument here. At least be fucking consistent with what you practice. Anyways, an additional 6% occur between 14 and 20 weeks. So literally, what is scientifically known to be around 22 weeks is when a embryo, a fetus, develops somewhat, basically personhood. They do develop a limited personhood at around 22 to 24 weeks. Meanwhile, 99% of abortions happen before the 20th week. If you want to make the argument about the 1%, I understand it. That's a whole different argument. But let's at least agree that 99% of abortions are occurring before this time. I just don't fucking get it. I don't know what, like, what are
Usually
you
that
on about?
1% or that 1% is usually like emergencies, like the mom's life is in danger
Oh
or
yeah, I'm sorry. I probably like just wrote over that. Mark is entirely right. Yeah, like 1%. Women aren't out here. I mean, obviously they're not out there trying to get abortions after the 20th week, but when they do, it's usually because of like a medical procedure. The woman's
yeah.
life is in danger or something.
Getting late term abortions, I don't know if people know this, is
It's super
very dangerous.
dangerous. Yeah,
Really dangerous.
it's scary, and like that's why most women try to have it immediately.
Wow.
Because, and I think in like the mind as well, I think it's understood that like this thing is becoming a person. Like there is a point in time when this will be a person.
Yeah.
Right now it's a clump of cells. So if I don't want to have this, let me do it before it gains any type of personhood. And I that's obviously anecdotal and subjective, but that's how I think someone would think about this. Like, why would you wait? And obviously the proof is in the pudding. They don't fucking wait. Such a crazy stat, dude. 99% happened before the 22nd week. The 20th week, sorry.
Yeah.
And we're gonna argue over like, and that's why they have to say conception, because if they didn't say conception, they would be morally inconsistent for 99% of abortions.
Um, yeah. And anybody who says like, oh, I don't believe in abortion except for like rape or incest, they're also morally inconsistent.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, if you can't pick the person, right, right. I'm just gonna go for it.
This is play.
What? What? If the guy got her pregnant, and presumably we're not talking about a rape here, but she doesn't like the guy who got her pregnant. So she gets to kill the product?
Which is interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder what if it was a rape? What would he say then?
Yeah,
Very
I feel like
interesting,
he's just being a
Shapiro.
little. He's trying not to get canceled.
No, I don't think he cares about that. I just think he's morally inconsistent. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. That was weird for him to say that. Let's see.
How? What?
She gets to kill the product because it's not a fucking. Dude, I love how they're like consumerist about it. Like,
The product. Yeah, wait, weird that he's not assigning it personhood. It's a product, it's not a person.
even yeah, that's also true. Like, yeah, it's a
Very,
product of a transaction.
very weird, Ben.
The wording there, buddy.
Very weird.
Why? Is there any logical connect there at all?
Yes.
By the way, there are many people who don't like the father of their children. The children are fully grown. Can I murder the child now? What?
God, what is this argument? They're personhood. And even
That's a
if they,
logical fallacy, Ben.
what the fuck is this? Bro, again, your own religion doesn't believe this. Like, the scientific community doesn't believe this. Where are you getting this from? Dude, I truly don't understand why he's saying this. Like, unless it's for clout. How many video, like,
Probably
chat.
is for clout. I don't know if he believe. I don't know how much of this he believes. I mean, he is crazy, so maybe, but you know. Also, bro, for the love of God, please use YouTube dark mode. You're singeing
What
my
happens in
fucking
cases of
horny
divorce?
ass.
Does mommy just go to kill the kids because she and daddy don't get like what?
This guy has a JD, right? And in his mind, I don't fucking understand entirely, but he literally took it from pre-personhood, the argument based on conception and what defines a person. And he's also saying that, well, when mommy and daddy get a divorce, mommy could just kill the baby because why not? What's the difference?
Well, because to him, they're both
The same,
the same. Yeah, in his mind.
but a naturally causing, nobody's held accountable.
Of the product, yes.
I really want to know what his mindset is. If, like, again, if a woman is like shoved and somehow leads to a miscarriage in like the first 3 weeks, like, they should be charged with first-degree murder, according to Ben Shapiro. Am I wrong to think that?
No.
But then what about rape? Like, because he must say that rapists, they have to have the baby. Like, that is the only thing he can say for this to make sense, which is so fucked up. And if the woman's life is in danger, if you were to think about it from a utilitarian perspective, the woman has less life to live than the baby. So the baby should live and the woman should die. But that's still murder. Just because you're putting weight on it. I wonder if he gets into this.
There's no.
My God, Rob.
You don't like my ads, bro? Yeah.
No, I don't
Teach
like
me
your
about
fucking.
Adobe. Teach me about it.
Logical
Just
connect
get
there.
ad blocks, bro, please.
So many more important things to be dealing with.
Wait, stop. What? I mean, man, this is just. He doesn't even bother to carry through the line of argument. It's just a bunch of emotional appeals. We have so many more.
You fucking debate class.
I like how I like how Ben is like being the debate bro now, but he technically just made like 5 logical fallacies in like the last 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but his
dude,
followers don't care. Do you like look at this shit?
no, I don't care.
Who
They're,
do you
they're,
sue
they're-
when an elderly relative dies? Usually nobody, unless there has been an active effort to foreshorten their life. When people say right after a sentence, that is a way for them to try to bolster their weak ass statement, and you get okay. He's a scientist. No, Ben, his bachelor's is mechanical engineering. Not a scientist, just a guy who had a science show. Especially when she doesn't like the guy who got her pregnant. The farther this country moves away from God, the more ridiculous the things are becoming. Maybe woman maybe woman she be taught not to sleep with a man who she doesn't like.
yeah. Have you ever thought of that? Have you ever thought of that, Rob?
What if he's cute? I love like this mindset that like we fucking still live in like caveman times or something. I was once pro-choice, even when I delivered my first one in 2017. I was pro-limitation, so to speak. But after seeing it, dude,
Oh my God,
your
yes,
heartbeat long.
please.
Oh my God, hold on 1 second.
Oh, I love these fucking people. Pa, 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 pa.
All right, let me go back to the video.
more important things to be dealing with than what? The killing of 1 million unborn human beings in the womb every year in the United States? It seems like a pretty important thing.
Like, I'm trying to think of so many ways to argue against this person, right? And it's like, abortion helps people live a better life. Abortion allows for women to not only have control of their future, but literally all of the pressure of a sexual interaction falls on a woman when they become pregnant. This society we live in is not meant to support not only fatherless children, but it's not meant to force women to have children. It wouldn't make any sense. If we're thinking about this in a holistic approach of the United States, abortion should be legal based on the premise that nobody else is going to raise your fucking kid. And even if somebody was there to raise your kid, which currently does not exist, it's still scientifically not anything more than a clump of cells. If you want to say at 22 weeks that there's like an adoption clinic and all of this information, you have every right to make that argument. I can argue against you. We can have this debate and argument. You cannot make this argument before 22 weeks. Empirically, you are wrong. Religiously, you're fucking wrong. Scientifically, you are wrong. And I just don't understand what you are trying to convey here. You're just trying to force women to have children where their lives will become worse. And they're making that determination. Who am I? Who are you to make the determination if a woman's life will be better or worse if they have a child? If they feel like they can live a better life by not having a child right now, by every fucking damn reason, for every damn reason, they have every right to make that decision. It's not up to us to enter their home. I hate that the Supreme Court based all women rights for abortion on a privacy amendment. It's fucking ridiculous. And then Congress sat on it for so many years and did nothing. And because of this, we have assholes like this that are literally just manipulating people. And there's fucking women down here like agreeing based on beliefs. Bro, like this science is what matters, not your beliefs. Oh, bro. And they'll always be the loudest. The person that believes in God will always be louder than me or Mark or any of us. Because we don't have like this thing that we believe in that dictates the way we're supposed to live our lives. We have science. So sad.
We have so many more problems. To squander resources on this argument based on bad science, on just lack of understanding.
No.
It's very frustrating.
And what bad science have I presented thus far? Any?
None. You presented no science, bro. What fucking science have you presented? I love this. What bad science have I presented? None. None,
Yeah, dude.
Because you haven't
Can't
presented
prove-
science.
Can't prove a negative, bro. Fuck you.
Like, what the fuck?
He just baited you into a corner.
It's not even, dude, I hate that. I hate when people do that. Like, what have I said that's so incorrect? Bitch, you haven't said anything. You have literally just argued the way that his logical premises have been coming across. You have just basically argued the way his conclusion was, because he's not debating. He's obviously just having a conversation and trying to talk to the person that's viewing it. He's not having a debate where he needs to have these premises and a logical conclusion. Yet you are basically judging him based on this like crazy criteria that even he wasn't presenting for. You just created a criteria that he didn't even know existed. He didn't know he was having a debate. You're creating a debate. And then for you to say the bad science argument, bro, you have said no science at all. You haven't pointed to a single fucking study that says life begins before 22 weeks. And if you do have that science, we would all love to see it. Because then we can actually have a conversation based on science and not no science versus science. Don't bring up your fucking beliefs to an argument about empirical evidence or scientific research. Who cares? I don't care what you believe. All I care about is the proof. Dude, this fucking guy. I don't understand how he has a JD from Harvard. Is his parents rich? Are his parents rich?
Probably.
You wouldn't know how big a human egg was if it weren't for microscopes.
So the what? Why does the size matter? I'm confused.
Oh, it matters, man. It matters.
Because we require science to determine this kind of information, dumbass. Like, he's saying that you need a microscope to determine what is happening down there. What is an embryo? What is a fetus? When are they go through gestation? When is this an actual living organism? All these things matter, and it's based on science. It's based on microscopes. That's the thing that proves it, man. Fucking God. Like, how dumb is this guy? Like, I don't understand this. That's such an easy thing to understand. And it isn't even like you have to counter it. You just be like, yeah, science is real. Microscopes do microscope things. Like, are you serious, dude? Why does the size matter? I'm confused. Then you shouldn't have a fucking JD from Harvard. Harvard, if you ever get to see this, can you please review this man's logical premise, like his logical understanding of what is being said?
One got through, dude. There's always that one person that just fails upwards, kind of
There's
like
so many
me.
people like that though. Like at these high-end universities. It's not just him. I mean, I shouldn't say there's so many. They're outliers, but there's enough of them. And like I said, they're usually the loudest fucking people. Oh, I just hit my ankle. That hurt. Fuck.
Used. He's a scientist. This is like him saying, well, you know, does atomic chemistry matter at all? Does molecular biology matter? Like, do those things matter? I mean, if you didn't have a microscope, you wouldn't even know they exist. Yeah.
Exactly, Ben. You need science to prove the existence of these things. You need science to literally prove things, which means you need a microscope and scientific tools to do an analysis. And that analysis has proven that you are incorrect. Yet you haven't proven anything to us. Am I crazy to think, like, am I just like misinterpreting what's happening right here?
I think yeah, that's fine.
What? What are you saying?
I think he's just misunderstanding what Bill Nye is saying, but maybe not. Maybe he's that dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, but they have.
He's not dumb. I honestly don't think he's dumb. Maybe it is a misinterpretation. Maybe you're right. But that would be weird to have a JD and misinterpret at such a high, like, at that kind of level. I don't know. Okay. I'll move on.
Microscope, you wouldn't even know they exist. Yeah, but they have consequences, it turns out.
You wouldn't know the process. You wouldn't have that shot, the famous shot or shots where the sperm are bumping up against the egg. You wouldn't have that without science.
Right. And
oh my God. So this is what he did, dude. He split the video to make it like, hold on. Let's just make this very clear. Here's the first statement.
You wouldn't have that shot, the famous shot or shots where the sperm are bumping up against the egg.
Right, that's the first of what he's saying, right? And then the first thing he said initially.
We have so many more problems. To squander resources on this argument based on bad science, on just lack of understanding.
No.
It's very frustrating.
And what bad science?
For microscopes.
So
you wouldn't be able to tell how big a human egg was if it weren't for microscopes, right? Which he cut the video, right? We all see that he cut the video. And then after that, he says, you wouldn't have the shots where the sperm are bumping up against the egg, right?
Egg, you wouldn't have that without science.
Without science. All Ben did is that he took the scientific tool and a scientific analysis and he tried to split it up. And this is just called manipulation. This is such a horrible way. Like, he's a fucking manipulator. He literally split an argument that Bill Nye was making to literally dissect, to say the tool that's being used doesn't matter, right? And us having pictures and proof of this also doesn't matter because you separated the statement. Altogether, what's being said is that with scientific tools, we can have scientific evidence. This is important, and we'll put the words in Bill Nye's mouth because of the conclusion that he's trying to make. This is important because science says this is not a human being. This does not have human rights, basically until 22 weeks. That is when this person has this baby, this embryo becomes a baby, and they have livelihood. Limited, but enough, right? Science proves that. That's all empirical. That's all through scientific research, which requires scientific tools. You could look at it from beginning to end or end to beginning. It doesn't matter. But Ben is splitting it up so that they don't make sense. It just comes across as like, we have tools and we have pictures. This is like class manipulation. Like, I hate this. I hate this so much. Oh.
Right, and we do. So, and your point is that we'd be better off if we were ignorant, like you appear to be?
You stupid.
and then you're gonna pick on him after you manipulated it, dude. We have to do this.
You just got Shabibo'd, bro.
Man, the science guy over here. I love this. He's deriding science in order to avoid the consequences of his own arguments. He's like, you wouldn't even know about sperm and egg if it weren't for me, the science guy, and that's why you should ignore what's happening with sperm and egg.
What?
I don't know
When did he say that?
I don't know what he's talking about here.
Where is this coming from? This is what
Maybe
I mean.
like maybe he's making like a 5D fucking argument that I'm
Dude,
just flying over our heads right now.
I remember like
You
3-4
weird
years
dumb.
ago, like years ago when he would speak, like he made sense. I just disagreed. You know what I mean? Like he would say
Sure.
things and I was like, okay, like you're obviously educated. This is extremely uneducated. Like I don't understand what happened to him. And people still watch him. I mean,
Well, got to him, bro.
So I just really encourage you to not tell women what to do and not pursue these laws that really are in nobody's best interest.
They're in nobody's best interest except for the unborn child. Also, what is a woman? Also, I love that it just
interests, dude. The unborn child doesn't have any fucking interests.
it's a clump of cells. Again, you can make this argument after 22 weeks, but before that, you have no argument. Scientifically, you are fucked. Sorry, man. There's no evidence for you. The bad science is that you have none at all. And dude, what is a woman? Oh my god, just because we use generic terms, like, what a fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
Like, typically when people refer to woman, they mean someone who could bear children. Is that accurate? Not entirely. Like, what? Am I right to say that, Mark?
I just say people. I mean, well, in this, like, when you're talking about abortion or whatever, just say people who can be pregnant, or just people who are pregnant. Kind of
Yes,
encompasses
but when
anybody.
people say woman, like Bill and I said woman, he's usually referring to a
Yeah,
person that could be pregnant.
he's just generalizing for the sake of.
He's just falling into a dichotomy, but that dichotomy is just an overgeneralization.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's
like
facts.
again, there's a male and a female, right? And this dichotomy, which is not true, but it's a very simple generalization that we all can understand. Obviously, like since we came out with like trans fucking, according to the conservatives, we've literally broken their brains. Meanwhile,
Last
they've like trans have
iOS
existed
update.
for centuries. It's just their brains were never capable of handling it, and now there's enough of, I guess you want to say, I don't even want to say enough of these people, but there's enough understanding and intolerance against assholes and ignorance that we want to fix it. We don't have to have this like dichotomy that's literally forcing children to commit suicide because you cannot handle the fact that there's more than two genders.
Yeah, they added trans people in the last server update, so that's why he's confused.
comes back to his truism. You can't tell women what to do. The entire point is, I'm not telling a woman what to do with her body. I'm telling her what she can't do to somebody else's body, the independent human life within her. That would be the thing.
It isn't a fucking independent life, dude.
So
If
you're
that's the
just
case, sperm.
you're just running into a brick wall here. You're never gonna win that argument. That's just his personal belief.
There is no belief here, though.
Well, no, but he believes that fetus is a person, and you can throw whatever scientific study, whatever. You're not gonna be able to change that.
We'll get to more on
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. What is happening?
this in just 1 second. First, I've debunked communism, JFK conspiracies, and other disputed topics. I haven't yet debunked the huge lie surrounding store-bought meat. Grocery stores and
What
What is
fuck?
happening? What am I watching? He
Leftists,
debunked
they'll
communism, dude. I love that.
Yeah, how do you? Oh,
tell
no.
you to buy that grass-fed
Oh, he
super
has a
omega
steak company.
morally
Oh,
superior equity bringing live your truth beef. They push the
Rob.
lie that those labels mean anything at all. But
Rob, I want you to order the conservative steak and try it on stream. Rob, do
feel like-
this.
I feel like I'm supporting an asshole.
You are, but every purchase you make ever is supporting some asshole somewhere. So
Ooh.
look at all that meat. Mm. Fuck you, vegans. Holy shit, that's expensive. What the fuck?
That's expensive, right?
What the fuck is this, dude? Imported from like Nepal? What the fuck?
2 T-bones, 5 flat irons, 2. Wait a minute. Wait. I'm sorry. Wait, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My brain's confused. I'm just so confused. 25 ounces of flat iron.
This isn't
Jimmy.
even that
Jimmy.
expensive.
What?
That's pretty expensive.
This is basically a restaurant price.
Wait, Jimmy, guess what state, like who owns this steak? Were you here to see that?
Ben Shapiro?
Yeah.
You have that on your other tab.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, it's a. I
Wait,
didn't know if
dude,
you were
hold on.
there.
$180, right? You
I
get.
feel like that's expensive. Maybe I'm wrong.
Is it 17 ounce? No, it has to be 5 ounces. Okay, so 2 pounds, 16 chicken breasts. That's a lot of chicken. I don't think
Yeah, maybe it's not that
Robert,
expensive.
two bone-in steaks at Costco is already like $50-$60 nowadays.
I know. That's not what was
Yeah.
confusing me. I didn't see the 16 chickens. Because in my mind, looking at this, I'm like, this should be like $120.
Oh, excuse me.
I was like,
I
$20.
think people are just paying a slight premium. I don't think it's that expensive. to be
Yeah, it's
honest.
not that. I don't think it is that expensive either. And it goes to local food banks and American farmers and ranches. Yeah, but Ben Shapiro supports it, dude. This is Fox.
The question I do have is, from time to time, you'll see like open markets, like there's just stands in the middle of parking lots, and then they say like 5 steaks for like $20 or something like that. I'm wondering how those things are so cheap. Have you ever seen those before? You have to go outside New York City though
I was
to
gonna say
find
maybe
those.
in like Pennsylvania, I've seen like shit like that, but a long
Yeah.
time ago, and it was cheap. Like we used to have like a meat guy as a kid.
They still actually have it. I was passing a place in New Jersey, and there was this random ass stand in a parking lot, and there's a huge signage, and it basically said like 5 steaks for X amount of money, and it was really cheap. I never tried to do anything like that before though, because too good to be true. I was wondering if like you've ever seen anything, any opinions on why it might be so cheap. Straight from the farmers, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, I do like going to farmers market. Support your local farmers. Dude, we gotta go back to the video. I'm not. But, yes, I'm gonna buy one of these things, and I'm gonna eat it live on the stream. When Mark comes up here, we'll do it together.
Yes, I can't wait to get fucking food poisoning
We do it at my parents' house, where like with a grill
from
and
Ben
shit.
Shapiro
Wait,
steaks.
but then you're supporting Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, I think we're accepting that. What if it's good? See, this is the thing, dude. What if it's like really good? Then I
I'm
feel like I have to
sure.
like eat my
I'm
fucking
sure.
tongue.
How can meat be bad?
I'm sure it'll be fine. Like I don't think it'll be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can steak be bad?
Look, you're not wrong. You're not. I'm gonna press play here. And like I said, Mark, we shouldn't do this. We should buy like, dude. We should buy like a fucking like super liberal person's meat. Like maybe Noah has a meat, or like Nick is not green, or Hassan, like one of those kind of.
Okay.
I'm sure like Nick is not green. Might no. No, it wouldn't. What about Curtis Connor?
Bro, you're listing every Pokemon right now. Fucking press
They
play.
don't mean a thing. They're often slapped on products. Good Ranchers, only sources from farms and ranches right here in the United States. Maybe you thought a steak cooking over a fire couldn't get more. The purchase not only strengthens American farm. He's wearing smart guy glasses. This means he's smart, probably.
Have you ever heard of a band called?
Feel like you're not allowed to play a Joji clip if you're Ben Shapiro. I also feel like you're also not allowed to make fun of a nerd.
Also, isn't that copyright? Oh, he is a nerd. I guess no, it's okay. It's nerd on nerd violence. It's fine.
What?
Ben Shapiro's a nerd.
Yeah, but nothing he said in his first clip has been nerdy.
I know, but is the general like
He's lost his nerdiness. Fuck that, dude. His
he's lost
entire
his nerdiness?
logical premises were flawed. Like, obvious. Like, I hate you. I'm just
Let's
gonna
play
play.
rough.
Okay, so one of the first questions people have to think about is, are fetuses persons?
I do like those glasses though.
This is bad.
He's got a big forehead though. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. You need
Dude,
some.
you're about to activate the conservative trap card.
No.
Once you say are fetuses people, it's like a fucking trap card. Because, like you said, you're just arguing beliefs at that point.
It's like pot of gold, dude, or pot of greed.
It's the only
Notice-
argument that they don't even win, but they can just. It is their trap
Pot
card.
of greed.
Yeah,
It is
that's a
pot
very
of greed.
important.
Huh?
It's pot of greed, the trap card from Yu-Gi-Oh! That is super OP. I'm sorry.
Linguistic question. Persons. I didn't say human beings. I didn't say alive. Those are three different issues, right? Something can be alive but not be a person. Your dog is a good example. You might love your dog. It's a wonderful thing, but it's not a person.
Is an unborn
Something
person
can
a
be
dog?
human and potentially not.
It's closer to a dog than it is a fucking actual person.
Dogs should have more rights than an unborn person. What the fuck? Wait, hold on. Maybe I missed that. I'm a little confused.
Thing, but it's not a person.
Oh, an ad's gonna pop up. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry.
Is an unborn
Something
person
can
a
be
dog?
human and potentially not.
What do you guys think? Is an unborn person a dog?
Werewolf.
The dog is alive and more sentient than an unborn person before 22 weeks. I think it actually would it would be more fair to say that a dog and a at 22 weeks an embryo. What is it called at 22 weeks?
An embryo.
So an embryo 22 weeks is closer to a dog.
Honestly, if you look up like baby embryo and dog embryo, I'm pretty sure they'll look the same. I don't know that for a fact, but human embryos and chicken embryos look the same. So
Press play.
Be a
An ad
person,
play.
right? Some people think the early embryo, for example, before 14 days, or stem cells being derived.
All right, let's see baby verse.
kinda.
It's different.
Most vertebrate embryos look pretty similar,
I don't
like
like what
until a certain point.
All right, let me just go back and let's finish what he's saying.
The early embryo, for
Stop. Let me finish this.
example, before 14 days, or stem cells being derived, are members of the human species, but may not be persons. So what do we mean by persons? We mean something that has a certain set of moral and or legal rights, the most important of which is a right against inviolability. They can't be killed or destroyed or harmed without very good reason.
Okay, so I'm
Okay, so I agree with this man entirely.
Is he a lawyer? I don't remember what he said.
But what's about to happen is he's gonna say that
What's he
this
gonna
is all
say?
wrong because if they're part of a species, this is what I assume Ben Domingo is going to say. Because they are part of our species, they are a personhood at conception. Jimmy, Mark,
I mean, maybe. Yeah. Ugh.
noticed an extraordinary amount of circular logic here. Circle detected. Okay, so get this. You ready? A person is a human being with rights. A human being with rights is a person.
What? What the? Is he trolling? Is this a joke? I think he's just trolling. I don't think he's serious.
is
That's-
that what was said?
No.
A human being with rights. Wait,
He literally said the same thing twice, just in different order, and then called it circular logic.
he's saying that there is a point where a human gains personhood.
Oh, I'll be right back.
At no point do you define what makes a human being the human being with rights.
He's saying that a human being that gains personhood is a human being with rights. We are part of the same species, but you are not a person until you gain personhood. The argument is, when do you gain personhood and when do you have that those rights? When do you have like human rights? And according to science, the beginning of that, the earliest you can give that to an embryo would be 22 weeks. I don't get it. Don't understand. Jimmy, do you understand why he's confused? Thanks, Jimmy. Really appreciate it. Good way to come in.
At no point does he define
Correct.
when a human being transforms from a human being without rights into a human being with rights. So he just
I just want to go back. I just really want to go back because maybe I missed it too.
Right? Something can be alive but not be a person. Your dog is a good example. You might love your dog, it's a wonderful thing, but it's not a person.
is an unborn
Something
person
can
a
be
dog.
human and potentially not be a person, right? Some people think the early embryo, for example, before 14 days, or stem cells being derived, are members of the human species, but may not be persons. So what do we mean by persons? We mean something that has a certain set of moral and or legal rights, the most important of which is a right against inviolability. They can't be killed or destroyed or harmed without very good reason.
Okay, so I've noticed
All he did was define a person. He said, yes, people do argue that early embryo, first 14 days, people do say that that is part of the human species. However, they are not a person. What defines a person? A person is someone that has personhood, meaning they've developed moral rights. They now have rights in this society. They now have rights between you and I. They are no longer just a clump of cells. They actually are sentient. They have feelings, emotions, and there's no reason to harm them without an abnormal fucking cause. And when we're looking at this, if we're just thinking about this logically, that is not a sentient being until 22 weeks. That is what science says. There's no circular logic there. JD from fucking Harvard, bro. This is what it gets you?
Maybe I should go for my fucking law degree.
at no point does he define when a human being transforms from a human being without rights into a human being with rights. So he just completely avoids the argument through this magical circle. A person is a human being with rights. A human being with rights is a person.
Sure, he'll
A
get to
defined
it.
human being with rights.
And there are a few different kinds of theories you can have. One could be just to say if X is living and a human being, X is a person, right?
Dude, he did it again. He did it again. He did the same thing with Bill Nye. He splits the fucking argument to make the person look dumb. Then he makes a clip. He's explaining it right here.
But they always do this shit, man.
Dude, it's so annoying. Like, if his viewers don't see this, that he's literally just cutting up a clip to make points that are completely invalid because the person that he's debating against, who doesn't even know they're debating, is fucking, like, literally hasn't finished their statement. What are you... He has a JD from Harvard. Fuck.
Now, some people have problems with that. So Peter Singer and some animal rights advocates, for example, think that that's a speciesist attitude, that by saying human equals person, it's problematic that we're excluding animals.
Right. He's wrong. I mean, listen, I will give it to Peter Singer. Peter Singer is a logical thinker. He is consistent. Peter Singer literally believes that you should be able to murder a baby past its birth. He says this. He's not closeted about this. He says that because babies are not sentient and essentially have the same mental function as some kinds of animals, this means you should be able to abort, and when I say abort, I mean murder, a child post-birth. So I will give Peter Singer...
That's called infanticide.
I think you should kill everybody post-birth.
What's the point of it? You just angry, Mark?
I'm just angry, and I'm tired, and I'm thirsty.
Go get water, Mark. Take a lap. Take a lap.
I'll take a lap.
Perfect
actually
points for consistent.
flooding here. I'm sorry.
Insane. But citing Peter Singer as your moral authority is sort of a risky business, as it turns out.
So other
He wasn't putting it as a moral authority. He was saying that some people believe this. Peter Singer and other would be against this because it's excluding him. That's what he was saying. He's just using it.
He's not really making arguments. He's kind of just defining things.
Yeah, that's all he's done so far.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with that?
Other people have sometimes what are called a capacity X view, where they say, in order to be a person, you have to have X capacity.
That leaves out autism and things like that. Have you heard this argument before?
No, but I can kind of understand what they're trying to say. It's like I see where he's going.
Yeah.
Fill in what X is. Is it the ability to think complex thoughts?
Because if anything, what's interesting is that like people that are lacking certain capacities should be given more rights in this country. And I think in general, like we should look out for those that have less opportunities than others. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yet, so it is kind of like, to me, hearing that is such an easy thing to dunk on, right? That you can simply say that, yes, what you are arguing is that because of the limitation to what you are able to do, your ability in this life to have like complex thoughts allows you to have more rights. Therefore, an embryo that is like literally has no ability should have even more rights. You can make a similar type of argument, but I would feel like that's smarter than whatever's about to come out of his mouth.
The ability to plan and look towards the future. The ability to feel pain, whether you understand it. Is it about continuity of an identity over time, or is it merely being alive and breathing?
Okay, so here's the problem. Any standard other than alive and breathing means that you're going to be murdering people unborn in the womb.
They're not people.
Any other...
Yeah, exactly.
Standard he mentioned there. So, discontinuity of identity. We have people who have conditions where they have discontinuity of identity.
Oh my God, dude. I hope he's not. I said what I said, just thinking like he would think. I'm just hope. You know what? I'm gonna let it play.
Can you murder them? Do they have human value? How about thinking complex thoughts? Have you ever met a small child? They don't think complex thoughts. Or a person who is very elderly and maybe losing mental function. Honest to goodness, the standards that he is using here are completely applicable to people who are fully grown.
He's not arguing.
That's not his standards. Yeah, I think he's getting confused. He's taking these like definitions. He's like, the dude literally said, he was like, some people think this, and he's like, well, that argument is flawed because XYZ.
Dude, I can't imagine being in a fucking classroom with this guy. Like the professor is explaining all the theories, and this guy's like, "Why are you saying that? You're wrong." Like, dude, he's just saying the theories.
Remember when I said he was probably bullied and that it's okay to bully him? That's why.
Let's just bully his ideology. Let's not bully how he looks.
Sure, dude.
You know, you find out when you think this thing through, it turns out that every standard other than being a human being with potential, other than being a member of the species Homo sapiens, any other standard leads you to some pretty dark roads here.
And then there are complex questions about what happens for things that have the potential to have capacity X or had capacity X but lost it. So for example, a fetus doesn't have the ability, as early fetus, let's just say an embryo, just to make it very easy, an embryo before 14 days doesn't have the capacity to think deep thoughts about the future or have future orientation. I think that's pretty well accepted by everyone. But it certainly has the potential to do so, right? And the question is that enough? What kind of theory of potentiality?
Theory of potentiality.
It's start your business time.
You know,
by the way, this is how I learned about abortion too. Like, we compare like any human that's handicapped to a baby. Why is it okay to have an abortion versus like a handicapped person? And like you literally have these debates in class. By the way, I'm a philosophy major, have a bachelor's in it. And when people make these arguments, it was so confusing because obviously they're failing to recognize the harm principle, which is that, or not even harm principle, just like a sentient being. Meaning, if you can feel pain right? And you can think about the future, or you can think about the future, or you have some type of ability beyond nothingness, you have person. When you are a vegetable, or you are literally a clump of cells, you do not have any ability at that time. You most likely, the potential is different only because when you are in that bed and you are no longer have your brain function, you no longer can think or feel, they're usually towards the end of their rope and they've already been born. They've already once had that. And that's the difference. There's a time and place when this person, this developed personhood, no longer has the things that gave them personhood. That doesn't take away their right of personhood. However, you need to earn personhood. And personhood is earned at 22 weeks, scientifically. Because they no longer require a mother's support to be born. At that given time, you can now say that this person, this fetus has developed personhood. Limited, I think it can be agreed, but still personhood nonetheless. And that is where things start to get a little iffy and fishy, philosophically as well as scientifically. I understand, but to argue before 22 weeks, they do not have personhood. They don't have they don't feel anything. They're not sentient. And the theory of potentiality is fucking meaningless. The only point that theory of potentiality has is that if you already had it and then you lost it, or you were born and you became a person, because that's all it takes to become a person or gain personhood.
Hydrogen and oxygen each have the potential together to become water. But does that mean that they are water? They have the metaphysical properties of water?
No.
Bro, oh my god, of course he's gonna fucking disagree.
Just keep playing.
Or do we require
stupid.
more of a kind of potentiality? Something like, in the natural course of things, you will become something.
Well, I mean, obviously the latter. That's like saying that sperm and egg, apart from one another, have the potential to become a human being.
Yes, Ben. Yes, no fucking shit. This is what I mean, dude. Thank you so much. Like, even better. Awesome. Shirley got me Doritos and a Coke. 0 sugar.
Take her.
Not a sponsor. Oh, she got the good Doritos. It's a good moment of life. Anyways,
Thanks, Shirley.
yeah, they said thanks. Fuck, dude. It just wait. I need to go back. What was I saying? I got so happy that I got Doritos. Yeah, he's a fuckface. Why is he a fuckface? Oh, dude. Protons and neutrons. Fucking sperm and egg. Like, if you want to be morally consistent, you have to say that jerking off is killing babies. I don't understand how that's being morally inconsistent with his logic. Am I crazy to think that?
Babies.
What was that, Jimmy?
Jerking off is killing baby.
Jerking off is killing babies? We got a Babibo head. I forgot to tell everybody that Jimmy here is a Ben Babibo head. He's all about the Ben and the Babibos.
Pendejos.
Did you say
Pendejos.
adios mio?
I said pendejos.
Pendejos? Shirley, can you say it to help us?
No way.
Mark said it. Yeah, you should
Did I?
hear it.
I don't know what I said. Did I say slur?
You said it. Yeah, you said a slur. Even my
Mark's
mom hopped on
racist.
to watch and she was like, "Hi Mark, hope all is well." And then you went pendejos.
What did I just say?
It starts with a P, Mark, just so you know. Just to help you out there. Shirley had to walk through a nest of spiders. She literally played grounded in real life to get me this Doritos and soda. Alright, hold on, let me finish this fucking video.
Apart from each other, they don't. Combined, they do. I mean, it's the latter, obviously. When you say potential human being, you mean this is a human being with potential, as Robert George says from Princeton.
Now, even if you think something is a person, that doesn't necessarily mean you've solved the abortion problem. So it is possible, although popular among philosophers, not so popular in the political press, to say fetuses are persons, and yet abortion is still legal and justified. How does that argument go? The suggestion is that there is a right of another entity that has overcome whatever interest the fetus has. And that is the right typically of the mother who is gestating the fetus. So the claim is, yes, a fetus is a person. Yes, abortion will cause the death of a person, but that doesn't mean that abortion is wrong, because the woman gestating the fetus has a right to stop that gestating, even if it'll result in the death of a person.
Now, you can see why that might be popular among certain philosophers, but is wildly unpopular with the American people, because it turns out that that is a horrifying argument that is, again, broadly applicable to situations beyond fetushood. When do my rights
Kind of a big dick
conquer
move.
your ability to live? I mean, throughout human...
It's kind of a big dick move, honestly. Good props to the philosophers. It's like, yeah, I know I'm going to kill somebody, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's kind of a big dick move. I respect it.
It's due to the fact that, like,
The mom's rights takes precedent over the fetus's rights because
exactly,
the mom pays taxes.
it makes sense. No, like, no shit, fucking, like, literally, if you just look at it at the most basic version, if we take
Yeah, yeah.
science out, this is
It makes sense.
it's the whole landlord. It's literally the landlord-tenant argument. This is the fucking landlord, and they want to evict the tenant.
Hmm. Yeah, I personally don't give personhood to the fetus, but I mean, same. You got the same outcome anyway. Use a different formula and got the same results. That's fine.
But the thing is, like, if you come at it from the philosopher perspective, you at least are saying, yeah, that is a person, right? But, which I disagree with as well. But what he's saying, yeah, that is a person. However, this is the landlord. And if the landlord doesn't want to keep you on as a tenant, the landlord has every right to evict you.
Yeah, Ben. Try telling your landlord they don't have the right to evict you, dude. See how that goes.
Now, if you want to make the argument that the tenant has lived here for 22 weeks and they've now earned squatter rights, by all means, you can make this argument. And even myself, I get conflicted in this argument too. But I don't think there needs to be an argument because it never fucking happens.
Yeah.
Human history, by the way, there have been multiple societies where the dehumanization of other people has allowed people to argue for their mass murder.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice.
Yeah, dude, pull up Shrek. Thanks, man.
Wait, this is unironically an anti-capitalist argument that he's kind of making. Do it, man. Do it. I don't think you realized it.
I'm not just talking about the Holocaust. I'm talking about throughout human history. That chain of thought, that this is a person with a right to life, and my countervailing rights overcome that right to life, that is an argument with an extraordinarily ugly history. You know, the fact that that last argument is so ugly is why they spend so much time trying to say that this is not a person. Because if they admit that this is a person, and that the person has rights, that a human being with potential is in fact a human being, then all the other arguments fall away pretty quickly. And they know this, which is why they never resort to this final argument.
No,
All
they
the
don't,
military,
dude.
Ben.
Fucking God. There's so many philosophers that fall into this mindset. They either argue against personhood, or they argue that they are a person, but the landlord versus tenant. Thompson says the same thing in like 1978.
Yeah.
Judith Jarvis Thompson. When was it? Ooh, 71. Okay, I'm off. I am off.
Wow.
Sorry. Highly recommend reading it. Not every argument she makes is the greatest, but it started. For those of you that don't know, Thompson's one of the first people to make like several basically thought experiments on abortion. And when she did this, it would later be argued for and against, and it would develop into a much stronger level of abortion. Hers is kind of weak. If you ever heard of the violinist, have you ever heard of like the house that keeps like the tenant in a house keeps growing bigger, and a house that's staying the same size, and it's getting too big and you want to evict it. There's different arguments that she makes that were made stronger by other philosophers, but she's one of the first ones to make the argument. And it's considered an important argument, especially for like younger people that are learning about philosophy. I shouldn't say younger people, but people that are getting into philosophy, because it's the first thing that you would read so that you can see the development of the argument over time. Highly recommend it. It's not really long. It's pretty good too.
Again, the clearer they are in their arguments, the uglier the argument is. If they're very clear like Peter Singer.
Being ugly is not a bad thing though. I love how like, dude, can you imagine going to court? Like this entire video all he has done is shitted on people for making definitions and not arguing. And then when someone does make an argument, he goes, "Wow, how ugly that is." It doesn't even prove it to be wrong. He just says, "Well, in history, they've used this to kill other people." You're not like explaining what the counter argument is, though. You're saying a consequence of this ideology. You are not giving me an alternative ideology.
That small babies who are not fully sentient should be treated basically like embryos and then killed, then their entire argument looks too ugly. And so instead, they have to just ignore the personhood of the fetus or pretend that the personhood of the fetus does not exist at all.
Your baby told him.
I need to laugh.
Got around to it because I don't really care that much. That Marxism video, but I feel like it's kind of long. I haven't seen it, but I feel like it's long.
Marxism?
Yeah. Like go on the videos, like their uploads. No, like go into their channel, click videos, and then go down, or just look up Marxism in the search. It's still long. If it's long, I won't watch it. Did they delete it? Oh, no, it's that one. Understanding Marxism. It's only 5 minutes. Okay. We don't have to watch it. I'll watch it for later.
I know Marx pretty well. And I
Do
also
you?
know, like, his friends. Yeah.
Do you, Rob?
Yeah, he's
Alright,
well,
I'm gonna let you take it from here.
If you know Marx pretty well, how do you not know his friend? Huh?
friend.
Yeah, you don't
Who's-
even know his friend.
His
Who's his
best
friend?
friend.
You say you know Marx pretty well, but you don't know his friend. How do you know Marx pretty well?
Who's his friend?
I'm asking you.
I
You're
don't
the one
know.
who doesn't know. Exactly. So how do you know Marx pretty well?
I know, like, wait, hold on. I'd have to look it up, but I know, like, his, like, theories pretty well. I know, like,
you
the
don't
dude
you
went,
don't you say you know Marx pretty well, but you don't even know his friend. So
yeah, you're
No.
right.
actually
I know,
oh,
like,
I actually think
people,
you
like, up to
Destroyed.
Rawls.
You've been actually destroyed.
Yeah, I don't remember a dude's friend from fucking, like, literally early 1900s. But
no. His friend is literally their names go together.
You talking about Engels? BFF?
They're intertwined.
His roommate?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Robert doesn't know his name.
He
But
doesn't
he's
know.
saying that he knows Marx pretty well. So
Fake
how do you know
leftist.
Marx pretty well if you don't even know
Fake
his
leftist.
best friend's name?
Fake leftist.
Fake leftist.
Also, I want to say something. Look at his fucking beard. I don't know what it is about communists, but they have awesome beards. I just want to point that out. We can get back to the video if you want.
no, we will. Honestly, I forgot about Engels, but that's okay.
What? I thought you were kidding. You didn't know about Engels?
No, I remember him, but
He's
I
the
forgot about him.
co-author of like most of his.
Yeah. I know Marx. Like, I know he went homeless and shit with, like, and then, like, had family, and he lived, like, a weird fucking life of basically trying to put himself in the shoes of, like, the working class. But in terms
I
of,
mean,
like, Engels,
he was working class. Engels, you're thinking of Engels. Engels tried to put himself in the feet of the working class. Engels was a factory owner. His dad was a factory owner.
yeah, but Marx literally went, like, homeless and started becoming when he was with that journalist company.
Yeah, I mean, he was poor. Marx has been poor his whole life. He basically died poor.
I thought he almost forced himself to be poor when he was in, like,
I don't know if he forced himself. I think he stuck to his beliefs.
because, like, he was becoming, like, popular as a journalist, and then he went homeless, I thought.
I'm not sure. I'll be back. I'm so fucking thirsty.
You don't mention that he was Hegel. That's okay. Yeah, I don't remember Engels. Jimmy.
I'm back. All right. Do you want to watch the video or do you want to watch something else? If you don't want to watch it, that's fine. Also, Marx got like thrown out of like 2 different countries. Like Germany or France and Germany were like, no, you literally cannot stay here.
There's very few, like, little about this that I'm seeing. A homeless man in continental Europe.
This guy was a fucking nomad.
Well, yeah, because he wanted to write about, like, the working class.
My man's had an awesome
So he
beard.
went
I
from
wish
like
I
place
had
to
a
place
beard
to
like
learn.
that. If
I
I could
guess
grow
that's
a
it.
Karl Marx beard, I would.
I could.
In a remarkably short period of time, the philosophy of Karl Marx changed the course of history. At the height of its power, half the world fell under its dominion, kept there by a combination of fear, terror.
No, I don't want to watch this. I take it back.
Okay. All right. We don't have to
Because
watch
this
this.
isn't true. I mean, we can watch it, but
Well, I
this-
know, but I just wanted to see what they say. That's all.
like Marx was against Lenin.
Well, Marx died before Lenin took power.
Well, like Leninism or Stalinism. Like he was against that form of communism. It wouldn't make any sense.
Kind of.
Because he believes in you need to be like either late stage capitalist or like capitalist for long enough. Like Marx understood that. You can't just simply go into like a socialist.
Yeah, Marx, he literally says it in this big, I have this fucking book. It's Capital Volume 1. He says, the rise of socialism kind of needed capitalism to kind of build the foundation, because without capitalism, people wouldn't understand wealth accumulation. And if if you go from like fucking feudalism straight into socialism, people wouldn't understand. Yeah, people wouldn't understand wealth accumulation, and wealth would accumulate over time, and then you just get capitalism after that.
But that's what's also good about having capitalism before socialism. It allows you to accumulate wealth and then redistribute.
That's what happened to the USSR. They went too deep.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they went too deep. I think they
skipped.
They kind of skipped, yeah.
Yeah. They went too deep. They skipped capitalism altogether. They fucked up. So they're going the other way around.
No, I don't think they fucked up. I mean, what they did was like really incredible, but as you saw, it went from basically feudalism to socialism, kind of quote unquote socialism, to back to capitalism, or just to capitalism with Khrushchev and Gorbachev,
Some say, yeah.
who are revisionists. All right, you can go. Sorry, I got into a
In
little
brute
rant.
force. Then suddenly, in the late 1980s, it imploded. By all rights, this should have been the end of Marxism.
That is
But
loud.
it hasn't turned out that way. From environmentalism with its rejection of free markets to critical race theory, which sees white patriarchy as the source.
Yes. Yes. This is what I wanted. I want to see if they would say all the buzzwords. Yes.
And what like, you know what? Let's just react.
Of all evil, you'll find Marxism at its root. The leaders of Black Lives Matter, for example, openly acknowledge their devotion to Marxist ideology. How do we explain this fascination for something that has so utterly failed everywhere it's been put into practice? We can find answers in one of Marx's most enduring epigrams. From each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. Marx was a poor economist, but a talented journalist. The only actual job he ever had. He knew how to turn a phrase. But what does this slogan even mean? According to what ability? According to what need? And who determines anyone's ability or anyone's need? Marx never bothered to answer these obvious questions. He had much bigger things on his mind. Nothing less than the creation of an entirely new kind of world.
We're going to watch it to the end and then come back.
All right, let's do that.
For an entirely new kind of human being. Marx believed that by altering man's economic and political institutions, he could alter, or even better, rewire the human brain. He could conjure a new consciousness that would replace the old false one. This new man would be less selfish and acquisitive and more altruistic and communal. In short, he would be a superior type of man. Of course, this new man could only reach this goal if he wasn't preoccupied with having to earn money. According to Marx, money and the pursuit of it ruined everything. Marx hated money, maybe because he never found a way to make it. Getting rid of it was central to his worldview. Once a person's subsistence, one's daily bread, was distributed on the basis of need rather than greed, man's natural communal affections, long suppressed by his capitalist overlords, would be renewed. This is Marx channeling the 18th century French social thinker Jean-Jacques Rousseau, one of the few people Marx admired. According to Rousseau, this is what you must do if you want to create a new society. He who dares to undertake the making of a people's institutions must feel himself capable of changing human nature, of transforming each individual who by himself is a complete and solitary whole into part of a larger whole from which the individual receives his life and his being. Understand this, and you understand not only a key feature of Marx's thought, but the dark history of the 20th century. Marx took Rousseau literally. Human nature had to be returned to its allegedly pure, selfless state before capitalism, with its enlightenment and Judeo-Christian values, corrupted him. But creating this new man would be a formidable task. Marx anticipated that many would object, especially the owners and managers that had a large stake in the capitalist system. Friendly persuasion wasn't going to get the job done. Only the ruthless application of state power would be up to the task. Marx was all for it. Private property, wage labor, competition and profits, these would have to go. The state, now run by the workers themselves, the dictatorship of the proletariat, as Marx called it, would control production and pricing. It would wisely manage the economy, from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. And imagine how wonderful it would be. No more ego, no more self-interest. Instead, everybody working for the benefit of everybody else. Peace, love, and harmony. For many, it's a very seductive idea. Who wouldn't aspire to live in such a world? Look around, a Marxist might say. The powerful exploit the weak, crushing the majority's noble aspirations, your aspirations, just so they can have more. It's unfair and unjust. How much better if we just start over, start clean? That's the Marxist socialist dream. In real life, it's a nightmare. Needs become demands, and demands become rights. The best are mocked, and the worst exalted. Innovation withers, while the government grows ever larger. Eventually, the productive become virtual slaves to the unproductive, and the society collapses economically, intellectually, and morally. And then the real horror starts. If you think I'm exaggerating, just ask someone who fled the Soviet Union or Cuba or Venezuela. For all its risk and inequities, they prefer freedom. And we should too. I'm Brad Thompson, professor of political science.
Who are the people that fled Cuba, bro? Huh? Who are those people?
I love how he's bringing up Cuba when like the USA literally fucked them into oblivion, and the USSR, as far as I know, like, yeah, I don't know enough about the USSR to be honest. I don't remember like the fall of it, like the 80s. It started in
Yeah.
the 70s, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It was like late 70s they started to fall
It's,
apart.
yeah. But a huge reason it fell apart was one, because of the Cold War, and two, because of American influence.
Yeah, I was
Their
gonna say, like,
inflation got too high, and they just couldn't distribute goods enough. But like early, I don't want to get fucking, made fun of for saying this or whatever, but the USSR under Stalin, not horrible, not a bad place, pretty chill economically wise.
I mean, they had a lot of rates across the board. People were treated with equity, or no, I'm sorry, they were treated with equality, not equity, right?
I mean,
Was there equity in like early USSR?
equity?
Guys,
Yeah.
why does this sound so familiar?
What
Why
do you
does
mean?
this story of Cubans, people fleeing these specific countries, sound so familiar? Like,
Oh,
this keeps happening.
where I was going with that is the people who fled Cuba were like the fucking people who used to own slaves and shit.
Exactly. How does this keep happening? Maybe there's a pattern here that we can deduce.
I love that we look at like the high class individuals, the people that were forced to leave based on like the bullshit that they did in their own country, and then we feel bad for them.
So, unironically, this wasn't. this wasn't as bad of a video as I thought it would be. He got kind of, sort of, the point up until like the last like 3 quarters, and then he did a complete 180, and he said like all that stuff that Marx wanted, like workers owning the means of production, equity, equality. That's what Marx
It's a
wants,
Clemson
and it's
University.
bad. I thought that's pretty funny. Like he even acknowledges the faults of capitalism. Like he said, like the pursuit of money distracts people from their ultimate goals, what they really want. The capital owning class
No. He's saying that all from Mark's perspective, but that's not like true. He doesn't believe in that.
Yeah, but it's true.
You think it's true, but he doesn't.
I know he doesn't. I'm saying that's what I mean.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And then he literally described capitalism, how like the capitalist overlords, what he said, will like enslave basically their workers just for their own personal profit. Like, yeah, bro, that doesn't happen. I've never heard of that before ever.
Um,
Like,
so just for like, because we have few viewers out there, all of us are different in the spectrum. Excuse me, of like how far we believe this should go. I'm probably the furthest right of everybody on the call. And the other two are further left in like different ways. But when it comes to Marx, nothing he said was not like, although some things were taken, in my opinion, to the extreme, and others may agree like what he said was entirely true. Giving people equity should be something we should all treat, whether you're religious, whether you're just agnostic, whether you're just a human. We should all give each other the opportunity to live a fulfilling life, and that doesn't mean working yourself to death. And the irony I find in this is that this nationalist perspective, like this Christian nationalist perspective that has existed in this country for so many years, is fucked 15-20 years from now. As automation starts hitting the workforce, and as we start seeing people get displaced from their jobs and they have to get new skills, no matter what we do, we're looking at an economy that's going to shrink in terms of labor force, even though the participation rate will stay the same, because there won't be enough jobs. And when you're looking at that, and at the same time you're saying, wow, all these people that are unproductive are going to be in control of the productive, that's just not true. No matter what you do in this world, there is going to be a surplus of labor, and productivity is going to be through the roof. And it's not going to be because of the labor force, it's going to be because of artificial intelligence and automation. So
that my thing is that already happens, and it's kind of just it's a natural thing really in labor. So there's going to be unproductive people in society. I think like, old people don't work, like young kids don't work. You know what I mean? Like people with
well, yeah,
disabilities
that's
don't
like,
work.
hold on, so we can pull
So
it up real quick. Keep talking, I'll pull it up.
economically, those people are considered unproductive, right? And the rest of people who are employed, the labor force, we make up for that, right? The pretty much all of this country's wealth comes from the people who work, not the people who really don't work. So that happens naturally. It's going to happen under capitalism, as it will happen under socialism. The idea is to make it more equal. Instead of those people, the labor force working for a boss who takes profit, we work for each other to improve society. And if you're not spending your entire life focusing on money, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to get food? Stuff like that. You can get more fulfilling. I mean, they wouldn't be considered jobs in a socialist society, but like, you know what I mean? Like you can do things that fulfill you and improve society rather than increase profits for Elon Musk.
So I pulled it up. The 20 to 64, 78.3% is the labor force participation. 65 to 74 is 27%, and 75 and older is 7%. Meanwhile, this country and the rules we live by is decided by the 65 plus, not the working class. Just looking at it from an age perspective.
Sorry, you cut out really a lot for me.
Oh, did
Can
I?
you? Yeah. Well, for me, it.
I'll say it again. Under 20 is around 40% participation. 20 to 64 is around 80%. 74 is around 27%. Like 65 to 74. And then over 75 is 7%. And most of this country is ran by people over 65. So you're looking at this, like literally the smallest participation rates in our labor force has the most amount of say. They're not part of the market. They're not part of the working class. And the people that are 20 to 64, this number is going to start going down significantly. And when that happens, that is going to be a scary fucking time in this country because we have no safety nets for these people.
So, Robert, are you saying that we should seize the means of production?
I'm saying that's meaningless, honestly.
Well, Marx wrote about automation because there was automation in the
I don't know
19th
if he
century stuff.
like thought it would ever get as like
I don't know if he
today.
thought it would get to this point, but he was pro automation. Like he said, automation is a natural thing. It's just it should be used to the benefit of society rather than the benefit of
Well, yeah, that's why I don't think
people
that
who own it.
I think that in okay, so like going back to Jimmy's point, when you talk about seizing the means of production, I think there's ways of doing that without a revolution. And the first thing I would say is a subsidy. I believe in capitalism, and this is where like I differ from the other two. But the reason why I believe in capitalism is because I believe that if the people's tax money is going to be used to subsidize your Tesla or subsidize your dream to go to the moon or fucking Mars, well, now we own part of your company as the people. And I believe that a subsidy is an investment, and it doesn't make sense to live in a capitalist society where an investment does not give you a percentage of your company. So if you're going to take a tax benefit, or if you're going to take a subsidy, I don't care what the number is, there always should be a percentage of that company becoming part of the national, of the nation. And I think that's a very simple way to start seizing the means of production while also allowing the private sector to continue being private.
I disagree, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, because like if you allow, go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
If you allow, like the way I see it, right? No matter what you do, there will always be a subsidy, right? And if you look at EVs, like electric vehicles, and we'll just use Tesla, the amount of subsidies Tesla has earned is fucking astonishing, right? To the point where literally the USA and our people should be at least over 50% of a stakeholder. It also allows that company to become nationalized at that point in time. And by doing it this way, you're allowing competition with like you're allowing innovation, you're allowing competition, but you're also saying if you want to become a company of the people, take a subsidy. What's a better investor than the people that you're trying to sell it to?
Okay. I think that it can only go so far though. Like what you're saying, like best case scenario for capitalism is you end up like a Nordic country, but they still deal with, you know, wealth inequality, wealth accumulation, and inherent contradictions within capitalism. You can't solve those without some sort of revolution. Now, revolution doesn't have to be violent. It could be an economic revolution, which has happened a lot in history.
You don't think a subsidy to ownership is like an economic revolution?
It can be if it goes far enough.
I'm literally saying that like every single company that took a bailout should be like at least 20 to 30% now owned by the USA. Every company that has like received a subsidy should become to a percentage of that company. And the reason why I'm saying that is because all these companies are looking for free money, and subsidies is basically free money. There is no consequence if they fail after receiving that subsidy, which is all of our hard-earned dollars. So if you're going to take a subsidy and now you become a company of the people, it would be in the people's best interest for you to succeed. It would also be in a company's best interest to perform for the people. And it creates this, in my opinion, a really good dynamic between consumerism and nationalization. Because I'm still saying private companies can exist, right? But the billionaire now has to compete against the country. And I don't think there would ever be a billionaire in this case, because over time, the more subsidies you take, the more your company would be owned by the country.
I still think that doesn't go far enough, but that's a good place to start, and that's where we should be, what we should be doing. But that would never happen.
I
Like the
think that's
purpose
the thing,
of
Shang,
n-
Jimmy boy.
no, the purpose of Western governments is to keep capital
It's
in
not
the
gonna
hands.
happen.
You're
Exactly.
telling me,
Here's-
dude. I
no, it
don't
wouldn't,
see.
dude.
Well,
I see a state
what
doing this.
your idea is not a bad idea, but it's also not realistic.
I
It's
think a
just,
state would do it. That's all I'm saying. I think a state would do it before a federal government.
you would like a revolution is at the hands of the people, while your idea is at hands of the government, which is controlled by corporations.
You're
Yes.
So
kind of
they're never
thinking
gonna do it.
what China is doing, which
They are never gonna allow corporations and their lobbyist entities will never allow your idea to come to fruition. Even like that's why I'm saying your idea is not a bad idea.
That's why I
And
think that like this is something that the state of California could do within the next decade.
they would. I don't think they would, because you
Because they
got
have
to think.
referendums.
Yeah, but the people in government don't want that to happen because they own fucking shares of these
But
companies.
they have referendums.
Yeah, dude, that means absolutely dick.
Not in California. In every other state, like we don't really have the opportunity. You could look at California and say, "Hey, you are the perfect state to do this," right? And all it takes is one progressive earning political clout, which in California is highly possible. You
Yeah,
could have
dude.
a progressive governor in the next decade.
Yeah, all it takes is one is the wrong Supreme Court, which is what we have right now, to just say that's unconstitutional. Bye bye.
But then you would have to be anti-capitalist. That's the beauty in it. That's my point. You would
It
literally
is
have to be
inherently
anti-capitalist.
anti-capitalist.
Huh?
What you're suggesting is inherently anti-capitalist.
No, it is not. Dude, that makes no sense. If the government is investing in a company and you're saying, you are literally saying, according to the Supreme Court, that a company is a person, you are then saying that the government is investing in a person.
Is your idea to eventually phase out privatization?
No,
Okay. Well, never mind.
it's to balance it. That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't.
Like,
There
privatization
is
will
no
always
balancing it,
exist.
dude. That's the thing. There is no balancing it. There's going to always be wealth accumulation under any form of capitalism. Even in
Wealth-
Nordic countries, why do you think they have so many fucking billionaires? They still have billionaires. China still has billionaires
I'm
because
not
they
against
still
these
have.
things, though.
I know. I
That's
am.
that's the problem. Like, I don't care that there's a billionaire if there's more equity and equality. And I think that to achieve that, you need to start with like realistic terms. And to me, a
Yeah.
realistic term is
Start with
the people
realistic terms,
owning.
sure. Yeah, to start with, as in you go further after that. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, but going further would be like taxation. Going further would be like different terms of investment. It would be different types of import and export laws, tariff laws. It wouldn't be getting rid of like privatization entirely.
No,
'Cause I'm
that's
not.
that's at the end. That comes at the very end.
I don't believe in that at all.
That's the second to last step.
To me, it should always be a mix. It should always be a hybrid economy. That's the best economy for anybody to have opportunity, anybody to live at a higher class, but also increases the floor. Because I think in Rawls' veil of ignorance, if all of us were in a room and we were to determine what the worst person got, we would all agree. We would all agree on universal healthcare, a universal paycheck. We would all agree on certain dynamics of that person, but we wouldn't say that person should be living at the highest expense. And we would all, I think, agree that there should be a level of the highest expense, meaning a person can have a Ferrari, I don't care. A person can have a mansion, I don't care. As long as like the worst person is still living a pretty good life.
Okay, that's fine.
Like you're against like the person that owns a Ferrari?
No, I'm against the idea of a Ferrari being owned by the people who basically control fucking society. And that's always going to happen under capitalism, any form of capitalism. Even a mixed economy, which we do live in a mixed economy, but that's always going to happen.
It's not mixed enough, but yeah. But I just disagree. I don't know. Like if a car's 250 grand and somebody wants to buy that car, I really don't give a shit as long as there aren't people starving on the street.
But there's like that's the thing. There's always going to be someone starving in the street for that
That's
car.
not true.
It might not be. It might not be in our country, but it's somewhere. Like where are you going to get the parts for that car? You're going to extract it from some poor country like the Philippines or some shit.
Well, the easiest thing to do with that is just any company. This is what I mean. You can fix these things. Like if our country, right? If your mindset is saying that somebody will always be starving, that's not entirely the USA's fault. Even if we didn't have billionaires and we were completely socialist and we had a revolution, people would be still starving in several countries. I don't understand that argument. If you're talking about global,
Well, two things with that. Yes.
Yeah, but at least we wouldn't be spreading imperialism everywhere.
I agree.
So-
No, but I agree with that. But you can do that several different ways of stopping that spread. And if you want to stop it and actually pay for these things, you're going to still need a level of privatization. If you want to start like paying for all the shit we did in Vietnam, Cuba, Africa, fucking several Asian countries as well, we can start paying these paying back for the things we did if we kept privatization. You can't do that if you go pure like socialist or communist.
Yes, you can, because it's not made. Things aren't made for profit. They're made for the betterment of society.
That's not exactly, but there is no profit to actually pay to the people that we've harmed.
Yeah, but you're
like that is so
we don't do
selfish
it
to me,
anyway.
dude.
We don't do it anyway.
So you're saying there should be a revolution where we only care about the people in this country, and all the people in the other countries should get nothing.
No, what?
But
That's
that's the
literally the
society-
exact opposite of what I'm saying.
But that's the society you would live in if you were to have that type of revolution. We would not be able to afford to pay for the crimes that we've done to several countries. Like half the world.
We can't afford that anyway. Capitalism or socialism.
Capitalism would allow us to afford that. A mixed economy would allow us to afford that.
No, it wouldn't.
Communism-
Why would we help to fix these countries? There's no profit in it.
There's no profit in it either way, Mark. That's not the point.
I'm
Which
saying, so if you take out the profit factor, we're more likely to help these countries if you took out the profit
Not
factor.
if there's no money, Mark. Where's the money coming from? You still need to have a profit in order to pay these countries.
You know, under a socialist society, there would be no money.
Dude, like I think that what you're saying is just absolutely wild at that point. Like
I'm
you're
not saying anything that nobody else has said. I'm
but
not making this shit up.
healthcare comes at like a crazy cost. Like universal healthcare. Universal education comes at a crazy cost. And what you were saying is like money doesn't exist and there is no value to these things.
No, there is value. The value comes from the labor.
There wouldn't be any labor to provide with automation.
Okay.
I don't understand how you remove profits and then also try to pay for other to pay other countries. I just don't understand.
Well, the idea is it's a global thing. Marx was a big his thing was there needs to be a global revolution, which I agree with.
Even if there is a global revolution, every country is going to come to a different, like either a dictatorship, communism, capitalism, feudalism. There's going to be like authoritarian. There's going to be different types of governments all across the world after a revolution. If anything, it'll make it worse.
As opposed to right now, when
Where
those
like the
things
USA
exist.
has like an opportunity, like it could just be led by one country, literally. Like
Huh?
the USA is such a rich country that if we were to redistribute wealth, where we could just fix the poverty in our own country and then start redistributing after we
So-
fix that problem.
Why would a capitalist society ever do that?
Mark, we're not a pure capitalist society though. We're definitely a pseudo-socialist society. We have fire departments.
What?
We have education. What do you mean?
Yeah, that are horribly underfunded. What do
They
you
are,
mean?
but they still exist. That's
They
not
exist-
capitalism. That's a mixed market.
Yeah, we live in a
we got the police.
We got,
we got
a,
the-
yeah,
lot
we
of
got police.
Yeah, we got the police who are in. All they do is care about the public. They don't protect capital at all. The police's job is literally to protect capital. That's it.
Yes, I'm not disagreeing with you. However, it is literally paid to protect all of our capital.
I
That's the
agree with
fucking
you.
problem.
I agree that no, it's a pseudo socialist.
I said that. I said it's a
sector.
pseudo-socialist society.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you. However, it's implemented to protect capitalism. The military is literally implemented to protect capitalism. We need to spread that freedom.
So, like
It's
what
a
you were saying,
social. The military is a socialist institution
entity, yeah.
entity, but it's used to spread capitalism around the world.
Yes, I'm not disagreeing with you, which is why I'm saying it's mixed.
Yeah, it's mixed, but we're pretty fucking capitalist. There's not many other countries that are more capitalist than us.
If you start to
And
nationalize companies
why
while
would we
keeping
ever do that though? Why would we willingly ever do that? Is what I'm asking.
because of people, like if you want to talk about a revolution or however you talk about it, I don't see a revolution ever ending, and I wouldn't want it to end where the people own all of the means of production.
Why?
That sounds horrible.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds like there's a lack of innovation. That sounds like a lack of productivity.
No, there
Even
would
if
be
you're
more innovation because things aren't made for profit. They're made for the benefit of society. I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this.
but the betterment of society, right? A for-profit motive seems to be a little bit more innovative, a little bit more motivating than betterment of society.
If they weren't innovative, how did Cuba like get through all these years under massive sanctions and performing socialism?
I
Like
mean,
they're literally
USSR.
the best. They're literally the best hospital people in the world.
No, I know the USSR.
When you nationalize these
Yeah, so how's
companies,
it not innovative then?
No, I know, but the USSR literally paid for that, for like a project to continue, and they did great. Like Cuba did great with what they had. They were able to basically take a shit end of the stick and make it really good in terms of like healthcare. However, it wasn't like the people were living great in the 80s and beyond.
uh, I hear you, but we live in our healthcare system is for profit, and it
Yeah,
has horrible. It's fucking awful.
I agree with you, right? And going like Cuba's route wouldn't be horrible if we were to start forcing education onto people and paying for it and making it better. I agree with these things. I think that's what Jimmy's kind of trying to get at because education was huge in Cuba and that's why they were capable of becoming a more independent country after the sanctions hit. But I think that you still need a for-profit sector in order to pay reparations for all the dumb shit we've done over the years. If you want a better society and give a country free vaccines and you want to give them free healthcare, that's not a problem. But there's things that need to be paid with money in the
So
world.
you don't think that taking away the profit for billionaires, like that wouldn't give us more money? You don't think
Would
so?
give us more money. I'm not, but at the same time, I'm saying that you can take away a billionaire. So I don't think anybody should ever be a billionaire. I didn't like I disagree with you. But what I would say is that all you need to do is change taxes. I think you need to think of like a logical path of what this country can do. And I think you have a tendency of going too far. If you were to look at it and say, okay, we could change the tax code where we start taxing people after like $1 million, 90%. That's something that everybody making less than $1 million can at least understand and possibly agree with over time. If we say, hey, we're paying for you to be around in this country, meaning through a subsidy, so we're going to take a percentage of your company as our own, and now we are a part time owner of this company. People, I think, can understand that if we're spending tax money, we should be getting a return on our investment. Like, I think that when you start removing these capitalist principles, you're kind of failing other countries in this world.
Um,
Because I agree with capitalism to an extent. It's just
yeah, but the reason all these other countries are fucked is because of these private corporations that you say would still be around.
they wouldn't. That's the thing. So I think there's like like a confusion here. If there is a government sanctioned company versus another company, who do you think is going to win in the USA?
Um,
Who would have the incentive to do better as a company?
Probably the government sanctioned one,
I
but
would say both, Mark. I would say
historic,
both would be forced to
his,
do better.
uh, I don't, yeah, but that hasn't happened too much historically.
Because what government sanctioned company do we have? NPR? Fucking
Um,
barely.
yeah,
NASA is not taking donations. I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. If we have like, if Tesla was to become owned by the USA, every single EV manufacturer now has to literally compete against the people of this country. Because all of us are going to get profits, which means it incentivizes us to buy Tesla. For example, the only way to do that is to undercut the market.
So then who would own Tesla then under that?
The people and whoever created it. Depends on the subsidy. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's say Elon Musk takes like I don't know, like half of his company's valuation, and now the USA owns 50% of Tesla. Tesla's gonna fucking boom because a lot of people are gonna start buying Teslas. Why? Because it's in our best interest to promote the company that we own as the people. That's how nationalization works, right? That doesn't mean that you got to get rid of the private company, because you can still allow innovative practices amongst the privatized corporations. They'll be forced to either leave this country or change their methodology.
I'm gonna, yeah, okay, that's fine. I disagree with you that profit equals innovation. I think that's kind of become a meme at this point. I think the opposite is true. If you take away the profit motive, that incentivizes more innovation.
Where has that been proven?
Cuba.
I feel like when you're bringing up Cuba, that's a country that had a
The early
profit
USSR.
motive literally because of the sanctions. They needed to make money. That's my point. If you're looking at
They needed to make money not for not for capital accumulation, but for the betterment of society, for the betterment of the
they're
country.
the same. They're literally two and the same thing.
No.
What you were talking about is individualistic
They had to do
versus
it to
societal.
survive.
That's what I'm saying. But if you're looking at it from a survival perspective, that is accumulation of wealth amongst the country. You were talking about individual accumulation of wealth.
Yes, that will always happen in a capitalist society. There will always be individuals accumulating wealth.
Those individuals will have to compete with the whole country, which is just basically saying good luck. When you create nationalization, you're going to have individuals having to compete with the entire country.
But my thing is, why not just nationalize the entire company? Like,
because that is not, like, first off, I don't think anybody would agree with that. To be honest, I think that's a very hard thing to push across. And second, it's not really fair to nationalize something that somebody else created, because they'll just like jump ship, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, they can jump ship. What do you mean? That's okay.
Meaning they'll go to another country.
Okay.
It's much more convenient. That fucking sucks, dude. Then we lose like innovation.
No, we don't.
What do you mean? That's the whole best thing about Cuba. Cuba literally had everything was closed. People couldn't really go anywhere, and they had to force to look within. When you close your borders and you literally say, we're self-sufficient, we have to do this. That's how Cuba became so like doctor literate.
But the innovation isn't coming from fucking Elon Musk, dude. It's coming from his engineers.
Yes and no. Because Elon Musk didn't create like Tesla. So like Elon Musk only created PayPal. Like if we're looking at Musk, sure. But the two engineers that did create Tesla, I think that's quite unfair to like look at them and say, hey, that's not your baby and company. I still believe that should be their company. I just think that the government should try to get involved and own a piece of that company.
Yeah, I don't believe in IP. Like after a certain amount of time, I think IP is just free.
Yes.
It's
Intellectual
in the wild.
property is pretty shitty like thing to have. I think like China does it pretty well, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, part of socialism, dude, is decommodification. So again, like you don't buy things. Things are just made to help people. Like I'm not buying a computer. Someone would make this computer because we need computers. Because if we have a computer, we can go to space or some shit. You know what I mean?
That comes at a cost, Mark. And for you to act like it doesn't just is like.
No, I'm not saying it does. Everything comes at a cost. Somebody always has to clean the shit. It's just that doesn't have to be in the form of money. That's in the form of labor, food, shelter,
There's a
water.
global market for computers. USA doesn't make computers. This is what I don't understand.
That was just a fucking.
But you could look at anything in this light. Sure, like Cuba, we could have better doctors and better healthcare. I agree with that. Fuck, we could even have a better military. if you want to look at it in that perspective. But we're not going to have better computers. We're not going to have better cars. We're not going to have better like technological advances unless we're part of the global market. And to
Yeah,
do
of
that,
course.
you need
We
a
would have.
profit.
Well, so again, remember how I said USSR skipped a step? That's where that would come in. You need to be you would have to be in a form of like market socialism kind of, I guess, is a way to think about it. Like you would still have to engage in trade with other countries in a capitalist way, but when that enters your country, it's redistributed instead of being accumulated.
That sounds horrible, dude. That sounds like a bunch of shortages across the entire country. That sounds like we're gonna get ripped off by literally China. I don't know. Well, Russia will still be a superpower. So, and
But you
Russia,
say ripped off.
India.
The only reason okay, in your mind, the only way we shouldn't get ripped off is by literally bullying everybody.
No, not at all. Not at all. What do you mean? The only people we'll bully is like internal, like in this country.
Like, how would we know we're getting ripped off? Like, why would we be getting ripped off?
We wouldn't know the value of our own like labor and money according to socialism. It's kind of confusing, wouldn't it be? Like, how would you know how much this computer is worth if you were just basing it off labor?
Remember that each according to his ability, to each according to his need quote that the guy said?
Yeah, so
It's
some people don't need computers.
It's based on the need of where it's based on need. It's based on like what society demands as valuable at that particular time.
And people shouldn't have the choice to determine what they need.
Or what they should have the choice. But
why?
But different people need different things at different times for different reasons.
Who's determining that?
There would have to be some sort of centralized government, yeah.
Okay, so the centralized
right
government,
now, the only
government.
right now that's determined by brands, by companies, by advertisements.
Yes and no. Yes and no. That's unfair. People know what they want and need right now. They just do not have the money to obtain it because people are like literally hoarding wealth. There's a difference there.
I'll be right back. You argue with Jimmy. I'll be back.
Jimmy? Jimmy boy? Jimmy's not here. Thanks. Look, at the end of the day, all that's being said is that when you go to a socialist society, like Marx said, there is no more really value for a dollar. There's value for your labor, and your labor comes in terms of things that you need. With automation, we're not going to be doing much labor. Our labor is going to be different. Everything is going to change soon. And with us looking at that, there will still be a privatization of the means of production. That's not a good thing. We should start nationalizing these things so that we could start profiting as a society off of the nationalization of the means of production. That means that oil companies, energy in general, car manufacturers, computer manufacturers, things that we can, make advances in terms of what the country owns. For example, if like a computer brand, let's say Microsoft, wants to make a deal with the American government, it comes at a percentage rather than a cost. What does that do? It allows the American people to profit off of Microsoft now. It allows the people to profit off of what a private company is doing that is somewhat nationalized. And it creates a nationalized hybrid between privatization and the people. So now it's in the best interest of the people and these billionaires to do what's best for the country, which is a good thing. Eventually, over time, things will become more nationalized, but we should never get rid of privatization because that's just, in my opinion, privatization allows for different innovations to exist. We should do what's best for society and what's best for the world. Completely agree with Mark on that. However, privatization should be included while going for that goal. Jimmy?
I'm back. Did I miss anything?
We were arguing about. Basically, Mark believes that privatization needs to go away entirely. I believe that privatization should exist alongside nationalization to basically have a hybrid model where people, if they want to become like go the private route, they'll always be competing with the United States or with the country, which in my opinion, that would allow a for-profit motive to exist with the betterment of society, and companies would be forced to do what's better for society rather than to do what's better for themselves.
Look, I don't disagree with either of you. I just think some approaches the people are able to control better. Unfortunately, it usually seems like for the United States, the only chance that we have is to do it ourselves.
That's the
And
thing.
that would be basically Mark's idea.
I think if we do it that way, people will not agree with what is being said here. I think we are way too materialistic as a society. I think we are way too consumerism, it like runs through our blood. And to act like we can have like a revolution and not be consumerist at the end of
I'm
it
back.
is, I don't think that's correct.
Well, and that comes to my point of I don't think anything will actually change here. And everything that we talk about today are just ideas that will never come to fruition.
Well, that's why I'm saying if you believe that consumerism would exist no matter what, you should include consumerism when talking about the idea of nationalization.
I don't think consumerism would
But your
exist.
idea won't work either. Either way,
I
none
think
of the ideas will work.
consumerism is a product of capitalism. Like consumerism didn't just exist in nature.
That's never going to go away though.
It's like
It will
Robert,
go away.
it's
Jimmy
like
just said
how
the
do you
same as
fix
I.
like climate change, for example? How do you fix like climate change? You can't, not with a capitalist society. So we're fucked, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Like
That's it. There's nothing to it. There's nothing. There's literally nothing we can do to change people's minds.
I disagree.
Unless you fully force things to happen. But if you force things to happen, a lot of people are gonna get hurt, and people
But
don't
that's the
have the
thing.
will to do that. So it's not
Even if
gonna
you
happen.
force them, like even if you force them, at the end of it, people will still be consumerists.
That's
Not if you
Eliminate them.
the very consumerist people.
Most consumerist people in this
Oh,
world are also the most innovative. Like I think that's
no.
what.
No, I disagree. Sorry.
Look, Caitlyn Jenner and her rich friends spent millions of dollars flying 10 minutes across Los Angeles just so she can get some Starbucks. I'm okay with eliminating her altogether.
Whoa, hold on.
Jimmy.
Hold on. In public, we don't endorse what he's saying, but in private, no comment. But
When
no,
I say eliminate her, I mean move her from society to jail.
redistribute their wealth. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
eliminate
sir.
their
Yes,
wealth.
sir.
Yeah, eliminate their
Yes,
wealth.
sir.
I don't think consumerism would exist under a socialist society. It would take time for sure, but
bro, like
you can get rid of that because
after the
consumerism
revolution,
is a product of capitalism.
but after a revolution, people are still gonna want that that ideology. Like to act like that's not gonna exist.
Well, the idea of a revolution is everyone's kind of on the same page. So no, I don't.
But that
think
would
so.
never happen.
It happened in almost every country where there's been a revolution, dude. That's how a revolution happens. It doesn't happen by like 3 people just going there. It's like millions of people have to get together and be on the same page. That's the point.
Get me on this? Not in the USA. You would never have that type of revolution. There are far too many people that are like.
Oh, I agree with you. In the US, it would never fucking happen ever. That's why it's easier for it to happen in these third
world countries that are getting obliterated by like American interests. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It would never happen in the US. Capital is
reason
too
for
strong
that, too.
here, and the government exists only to protect capital.
Even under Batista, people were in love with the man. It wasn't literally until like 1955, 1956 that Cuba was started becoming anti-Batista. It took so much shit for the Cuban people to revolt against Batista.
Yeah, but it happened.
Yeah, because you started killing people in the middle of the streets, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen here.
Do you know how far how far you have to go to make people revolt?
That's why
Well, late stage capitalism, bro.
things have to get worse before it gets better.
Well, that's the thing about late stage capitalism. In our country, that consists of a UBI. Once you start putting a UBI, you are never going to get people to revolt. There's no
Boy,
fucking way.
That's an idea that they won't even try to implement.
Dude, here's the thing. There's no way a UBI isn't here by like 2050 because of automation.
Let's bet. I bet our dignities because I have no money to bet because I'm poor.
That's totally fine. Because the way I see it with automation is that 2030 to 2035 is when people are where we're like killing the means of production or like redistributing wealth. I think it'll be in a form of capitalist redistribution, not socialist redistribution, which I disagree with the capitalist version, but that's why I'm hoping that a state like California can start subsidizing to ownership and start creating nationalization of the means of production. I mean, like California makes more money. Like, aren't they like on the top 10 for countries?
They're like top 10 in the world, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. One, two, three, four, fifth. They're fucking fifth. So this is why, in my opinion, like California has the worst equity issue because of how much money is in that country. I'm not saying that their people have the worst off. I'm just saying with all the money they are making for their population, they have a huge fucking problem in terms of inequity. I can see.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
I can see that state not having a revolution because of Northern California, but having a redistribution of wealth through the means of a capitalist ways. And I think that you just need to use capitalism against itself.
California got so much money, they still don't have enough to put homeless people out of the streets. They're basically like, nah, you gotta suffer and you gotta make everyone else's lives worse. Because they don't care about those people.
So yeah, Rob, you're thinking of like China. Like China is pretty wealthy, but they redistribute a lot of their wealth, like to a lot of their people. Like homelessness, I'm not gonna say it's not a thing in China, but it's a lot less than we have here.
It's actually very different. In 2020, they eliminated absolute poverty in China.
And China's not even fucking communist. Like,
But that's my point. Like, in my opinion, the Chinese model is an extremely good model for us to look at and create a slightly better version. I think that we can modify what China has done in the last like 2 decades for American interests, and we can do it in a more American way.
You should look up absolute poverty elimination China. I think the world poverty something has an article about it. You don't want to read the Chinese ones. Yeah.
Where did I get written?
I think it's this one. The World Bank.
China's battle against poverty has benefited a large number in human history. We'll focus more on achieving endogenous development in areas that have been lifted out of poverty and introduce vigorous measures to. Yep, okay. But this is what I mean. Like, China is proving my point. I think that you can have a hybrid model. I think that China is.
I don't think people are doubting that there's a possibility of a hybrid model. It's that you can't really do that in the U.S.
I think that's more easier to obtain than a revolution.
Hybrid model is a hybrid model is good. It's like the Chinese system. It's like the Nordic system. Like, but that can only get you so far. China's still an imperialist country. They are.
I disagree.
not to the extent as the U.S., but I mean they are still imperial.
Yeah, but like, to what extent then?
Like economic imperialism, like what they're doing in Africa, and I'm sure what they're going to end up doing in Taiwan.
I mean, you should look up the type of loans that African countries have.
Yeah, they're like dead end loans.
Yeah, and where are they from?
The Chinese government.
All right, I would like you to source them. Source it out. All the information is public. You can see where all the loans are coming from in Africa. Robert, can you look up African country loans? And I guess there's a how do you word it?
Well, I mean, still to say
Just
that
look up
China doesn't
loans.
have imperialist interest, I don't think is accurate. I think
Take
China.
out China. It'll have like where all the loans are coming from. So there's IMF loans, there's U.S. loans, there's capitalist Western bank loans, etc.
Yeah, but those are.
Hold on.
Let's see.
But so you want to see a breakdown of all the loans that are going into African countries. Because if you just look at the China part, then you're only seeing one part of the loans, and then you'll see a bigger picture.
Well, I think they were saying that China's trying to like fix it, from what these articles are saying. So that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to explain to Mark that it's very different from his perception.
No, I think you misunderstood what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're doing like imperialism like how the World Bank in the United States does, but there's still, I call it soft imperialism. Still imperialism though.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it does. There's
you
hard
can
imperialism and there's soft imperialism. Like I would say, I would say the USSR was an imperialist country towards the later end of its life. Like just because you're a socialist doesn't mean you're not, or not socialist, but quasi-socialist doesn't mean you're not imperialist. You're more likely to be an imperialist country under late-stage capitalism. Lenin wrote about this, which we see all the time. Xi Jinping, I love you.
But I also do want to say that, like, I think I'm on Jimmy's side with this. I don't think China's like the best possible way of doing it, because they're still like ultra rich like entities, but I do think that they are doing good.
I'm trying to find there's a lot of articles about China, okay, and loan stuff. So that's why I'm thinking that maybe there's some misrepresentation, because
I'm sure there is.
right,
well, actually,
Mark,
no,
you like
there
graphs
definitely is.
and charts. I'm going to show you a graph and chart.
God, yes.
And numbers. So I'm trying to find that. I've seen it before, but
Graph me.
BBC News in China.
Unironically, I think the country that has the best chance of becoming like a true socialist like country, post-revolutionary country, is India. They have so many communists and they're absolutely
like
getting
a fucking caste system. Like
I disagree. India's led by
way.
fascist leadership.
Yeah,
well, that's
like.
Well, I understand it's led by. That's not. I understand. The U.S. is led by fascist leaderships. I'm just saying, like, they have a lot of fucking communists and they're very exploited by every country. So I could see India having a revolution. And they have a lot of people, so they have a lot of labor. They can be a very rich country. Like they could overtake China if they put their mind to it.
Oh wait, foreign direct. Oh, dude, FDI. I'm an idiot. Here you go.
What is that?
Foreign direct investment.
Brookings? Yeah, Brookings pretty reliable.
Not gonna tell you.
Is this the loans though?
Well, FDI is
Oh, Rob, I have a good website for you. Real quick. Round news. I saw it and I was like, oh, Rob would like this. It's called Ground News. And what they do is they like score, or I'll tell you after.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But you should go there to get your news from now on if you're into that sort of stuff.
That's so weird. I don't know if you guys saw this, but
My back's
China
still-
ranks second as a development model in Africa.
Who's
That's awesome.
first?
USA.
I I I've seen China do some good things in Africa. They're building like schools and shit, but I don't know if that has an ulterior motive or not. Probably does.
There's a different approach when it comes to investments. I guess the Chinese, when they do the investments, they build infrastructure, mostly to connect things, ports for trade, etc.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure.
allows
I'm
like
sure
both
they have
countries
a
to.
motivation for that, right? Because they're gonna be own portions of things. But I
But
mean
it's a good
that's
thing for both countries.
Yeah, it's like a win-win scenario because the United States, from what I've gathered over time, we just give them money and a lot of that money goes to certain institutions and
Bro, it goes to fucking warlords.
yeah, it doesn't necessarily, what's that saying? You teach a man to fish.
Yeah. Like China, that's what I'm saying.
Instead
Like,
of giving him fish, that's what China's doing instead compared to the United States.
but China is also profiting off of it.
Yeah,
But
China
not
definitely
at like
profiting.
but they're not profiting at like a insane rate, as far as I can tell.
It seems like China only profits over a long period of time. So
Which is
in that
okay.
period of time, if those countries decide to still go with the United States, then China loses out. So I think there's a risk reward to what China is doing.
But that's why I'm for like that capitalist approach, because with what China, this is just proving my point. Like that's why I'm saying China is a good model of what I look for the USA to become. I just think we have to do it in an American way.
I
Like-
mean, if we were able to do it in an
Short-term-
American way, it would be extremely ideal, and we could definitely do it better than them. But the problem is, we don't have the correct leadership or the people to ever
That's why
do
I
something.
think-
Short term, I agree with you. Like I
no,
think China is
why
a good
short term, dude?
example. Oh, because you would still have private companies and privatization, and I don't like that. Long term, there
Privatization will
would be no
always
need.
exist in this world, though,
Why?
because there will always be a country that's going to want to privatize
Why?
because they feel like they can earn more money as a country, which is true.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Even Marx thinks that you need to be capitalist. For you to say that that's not true, you're just like
Because it
trying to
would
repeat
build
the USSR.
it would build the wealth needed to form a socialist revolution, a successful one.
You need to also build the wealth to invest in your own infrastructure.
Yeah, you don't need privatization for that.
I disagree. This is literally like, what do you mean? Cuba literally went through this process where they went privatization. They allowed the American interests to come over to fuck them, and they used that money to build roads and get better schools.
You
And it
don't
wasn't-
like you don't think any other socialist countries would help, like at all?
But they don't have any extra money, Mark. There's no profit.
That what?
The people would have to suffer in that country in order for others to be able to like make gains. That's the problem with socialism. In order for you to be socialism in the way that you are saying, the people can be socialists. You can sell things at cost, meaning everything, there is no money, everything's for labor. It makes sense what you are saying at. You can never in this world help another country unless your people are willing to suffer. Because then you have to sell it at a profit so that profit can go to another country. But that also comes at the cost of your own people. It would be much easier to just have a capitalist society with limitations on what people can earn. Like what you were saying is beyond idealistic. It's literally just like selfishness for one country. And it isn't like I disagree entirely. It's just that country could never help another country. That's fine for a small country. But if you want to help anybody, which I think the United States owes tons of money to tons of countries, we have to remain somewhat capitalist.
So
Because there's no
why don't we take all the money from these big companies and redistribute it overseas?
we have to do it to our country first. That's what I'm saying. You have to
No,
nationalize
because
within this country.
no, because if you said no, we wouldn't be willing to help another country. Why don't we send the money there first, then get rid of the company, then help ourselves? Because we're here.
You're just creating a perpetual cycle. There will always be a country like that, Mark. I don't think you understand that. Like there will always be a price increase. Inflation will always hit. That's not a capitalist perspective. That's a global perspective. Your labor will always become less valuable. Things will always become more expensive. These are all natural like this is the whole point of socialism. So that when things become more expensive, it's still being sold at cost. That it eats into your profits. There is no profit. But in order for us to pay for anything, you need a profit. It doesn't have to go to a person. It could go to the country. It could go to the people. But if the person's making the profit, we're never going to pay for any of these countries that we have fucked. And I just see it, like, again, I see it as selfish.
When you say pay, why do you only mean money? Why not labor or goods?
Because what are we going to do, bro? Like, the USA is going to send a fucking army of builders to help the African people build? And you don't think they're going to, like, our people? But
yes.
that's what...
Man,
But
we can't even build sheds for our homeless people. We
dude,
ain't
like, you're
sending
out of your
builders
fucking mind
anywhere.
to think that. And like, that's why, like, in China, what they are doing by sending money over there and putting it into infrastructure through their companies, and I believe a hybrid of African companies that they put together, that's a much smarter idea. Because then you're not only profiting off of what you build, right? You're also helping the people. That's true capitalism.
You know, there's some things that we can take from China. It's whenever foreign companies come to the United States and try to build companies in the United States, we should own a portion of those, just like how China does it.
Yes.
Every time, like Tesla goes to the US, goes to China to build stuff, right? They actually didn't do it, but other American companies, if they wanted to build a factory in China or something, they needed to commit at least 50% ownership to like a Chinese business owner or entity.
Yeah.
We need to do that here.
That's a capitalist,
right?
Mark.
We need to bring some capital in.
Yes,
That's
is capitalist. But you need that transition. That's a transitionary action. Yes.
You need it forever. It doesn't. Why do you keep saying transitionary? Like, you are acting like it is like this is not. Socialism is not what I think you think it is for some reason. Unless you are self-sufficient. Bro, it's only the end if you are only doing it for yourself. Like, if you want to help anybody else, you cannot be socialist.
No, then they would have to be socialist. They would have to turn socialist.
Which means we need an army at that point to fucking force people to socialism? Like, what do you mean, dude?
No, why do you keep saying army, dude? I don't know. That's what we do right now.
There's no difference in your model, bro.
No.
You need another country to be socialist in order for our socialist government to work with you. If not, we're not going to go to your country. Meanwhile, in socialism, there will be rampant, like, fucking corruption, and our country would just go to, like, countries like Africa and fuck them. I can't imagine the United States becoming socialist and also not becoming corrupt. Funny enough, China is corrupt. It's better. It's better. It's more fucking expensive. We can at least make changes in this country that while we're in a capitalist state and continue capitalism with socialist entities. Where China is right now is perfectly fine. Even if they are somewhat corrupt, they're doing so much good that it doesn't really matter. If like one fucking
also a
person,
good thing.
who cares?
The people who are corrupt over there that are caught, even if they're billionaires, get executed.
I just think they should go to $0. But you know what? Look, it's fine. It's fine. But that's the thing. They're in a hybrid policy and they're taking shit serious. And I appreciate China for that. People may say it's a little too authoritarian. I kind of agree. Like, they probably shouldn't be executed. But we could easily clean out their bank accounts to zero.
There was a billionaire who, like a leader of like some big ass real estate company in China, and due to like its crash, he went from billionaire to almost nothing. They
Good.
liquidated all his money and to pay back the people.
That's good, but that's what I mean. That's what I want to see. And I think in socialism, it'll be much harder to see these kind of things.
Well, if this was the U.S., that person,
Nothing
that
will happen to
billionaire
them.
who owned the company, yeah, nothing would happen
Nothing will
to
happen
him
to
at
them.
all. Unfortunately.
But that's why I'm saying go as far as China, maybe a little bit further, but I wouldn't go much further than that. We could help the world. We can also profit off of helping the world. We can also profit off of ourselves. And we're living in somewhat capitalism and somewhat socialism, but it's allowing us to make money while being a benefit to the world. And I also think it's way more possible. It's way more reasonable to start like subsidy to nationalization, UBI, than it is for a revolution to occur. Money is very important. I don't know how to say this. Labor is not as important as money.
Where? Okay.
I don't know why you think
Well, where does the money come from?
from previous labor.
So labor is as important as money.
It
Because without
depends.
labor, there's no money.
So if you had a socialist society, right? Aren't they literally collecting all of the money for your labor and then redistributing it?
Yes. Well, who's they? Who are you saying they?
The government. A socialist society means like all the money goes to basically one big pool and it gets spread out amongst all the people so that everybody can live amongst their needs. And at the end of that, the price the profit what the fuck's it called? Like the ratio is 0. Like there's no more extra money and there's no less money. All the money is spent. It's always going to be at 0. That is the problem, Mark. There is no profit. It is 0. The whole country becomes a nonprofit. We're all living for our needs, and that money is being spent accordingly. That's a problem. You need for-profit entities to exist so that you have money for the future of not just ourselves, but for other countries.
But okay, sure.
Cuba never did anything to grow. They just maintained. They did an excellent job at maintenance, but they didn't grow.
I would argue they went from getting cooed to making a fucking lung cancer vaccine. I consider that growth, but that's just me.
But there's no, okay, let me rephrase this. Yes, they put a lot of resources into medicine and they use their doctors to go across the world and like spread their vaccines. And spread like their science.
It's not just medicine, dude. It's literally like almost everything. Infrastructure, healthcare,
They didn't
education.
rebuild infrastructure, Mark. That's just not true.
No, they didn't rebuild
Or
infrastructure.
they didn't build anything. What do you mean?
What?
Do you know who built the roads of Cuba? It was fucking Batista, dude, and Mendieta.
I understand. I'm saying after him, after Batista.
You think they built more? They just maintained.
Maintained, made better, and built more. What do you mean?
They did not make more, dude. They maintained what they had. The only thing they may have built is schools.
Okay. Okay.
And this is before the sanctions hit. When the sanctions hit, that's when they literally got into maintenance mode. They were building schools in like 59, 60. There's a reason why Cuba still looks like it did fucking 70, 80 years ago. There's no new roads. Jimmy,
I'm too
am I
tired.
crazy here?
Probably gonna get off soon.
Jimmy, am I crazy here?
I don't think you're necessarily crazy. I just think me and Mark understand that it's not necessarily going to happen in the place where we are at. Fortunately, that's why we're so skeptical.
I think it's a different conversation, and like it isn't that I'm not skeptical. It's just once we hit the state where like I can't see us being I don't know. I can't see like 30 years from now, like 30% of the jobs are gone, and yet people are still like okay with the way they're living. One quarter of the jobs are at high risk. When is this? How long is this? Where a person you see oh they're not giving oh here we go. This is by when though? Uh, why is it rise of the machine, the brain drain, the brain freeze, the way forward? Dude, why are they not giving a year?
Probably gonna get off. Pretty tired.
Once I find a year, I'm getting off too. Like I know there's somewhere over here a year.
A year for what? What are you looking for?
Like, I mean, dude, this is just crazy. Like, percent high automation potential. Like white people 63%, minorities on average 75%. Lowest third of income 72%.
What is that percent of jobs that will be automated? Is that what that's saying or something?
Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense.
that's insane. Like, it's crazy.
Uh,
I just what does that wait? Difference in means of high and low automation groups.
Do you think automation, like, what do you think is pushing this automation? Do you think it's natural or do you think it's done for profit?
I think it's done for profit, which is a good thing. We're gonna like I don't think we'll ever agree on that, but
Nope.
because it's being done for profit, like it's allowing us to rethink work weeks. It's allowing us to rethink um how we want to work and live. And when the time comes, it'll allow us to rethink like Social Security and a UBI.
So
I
I
wish that
don't
time would come.
disagree with you, but I would only agree with you if the automation was done naturally instead of for profit specifically.
It wasn't. I think it. I think it's like a combination, right? Like we're just at that technological stage where we can start using AI to automate anything, which is why I also think that AI in general can create socialist societies across the world. Um, like, and if we're looking at like from a technological advancement, yes,
I think, go ahead, sorry.
yes, we can use like those advancements like AI and automation to invest in other countries, similar to what I think China is doing. That way, over time, our country can still profit and we can still, hoard a little bit of money, but we also can become socialists and influence socialism across the world.
So I agree with you there. I think if the United States ever had a socialist revolution, like hypothetically, that would influence a lot of countries to do the same. And I don't, I think that would happen naturally. Like a lot of reason, a big reason a lot of these countries are corrupt and they turn into dictators is because literally of the United States. So,
Well, it's not. It's that plus the fact that we're the ones who install those types of dictators because dictators are much easier to control than actual people who want to make the people's lives better.
But when was our last successful coup?
yeah, that's what I mean.
When was our last successful coup?
What'd you say?
Yeah, like it's been a minute, hasn't it?
The last
Uh, uh,
successful coup?
What is the current
Venezuela?
Pakistan thing? Was that a coup?
Yeah, dude, look at the Middle East. What do you mean?
or like
I was saying,
what?
I thought it was like
Ukraine?
over. You think Ukraine was us?
But I
Or
thought
the
we went over this. Ukraine was helped by us. I mean, we
yeah, but
didn't actively do it, but we
we
literally
we were
sent
part of
over
the
John
conversation.
McCain
No, I know. We were
and
part of
that
the
lady,
conversation.
right?
Yeah, we're definitely part of
Yeah,
the conversation.
it
Yeah,
was
dude.
assisted. We gave them an assist, most definitely.
Look
But
what we're trying to
okay,
do with Iran.
what was our last like full blown?
The most recent one,
Iraq.
Venezuela. We attempted a coup.
I said Venezuela, but I thought we failed.
We
Yeah,
did fail.
we attempted one. We failed. Bolt
Iraq.
literally came on national TV and told everyone that we attempted a coup there.
Iraq.
Like national fucking TV. He doesn't care at all. We tried. We tried Venezuela.
Oh, they're saying Syria.
Syria. Jesus Christ, it's a long fucking list. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, Syria too. Oh,
Bruce, if you
Libya
just
with
heard us, I'm not
Gaddafi.
getting us that out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about Libya.
Mark, this test. How leftist are you? Muammar Gaddafi, good guy, bad guy? Overall.
Overall bad guy. But doesn't deserve to get cooed.
Yeah, I can somewhat agree with that.
You're gonna say he's a good guy? No, I don't think he was a good guy.
I'm more neutral towards him, but I don't think he was as bad as we made him out to be.
No, I don't think anybody's as bad as the U.S. makes him out to be, except for like Hitler or something. But he did oppress minorities and like gay people and shit. So that's bad. Same thing with Saddam Hussein. Did also oppress minorities, but also kill terrorists. So
Saddam wasn't. Yeah.
The people who placed them were extremely worse. I heard there's like slave markets in Libya now.
It's always fucking worse, dude, because they weren't democratically elected. They were just put there by the U.S.
Fucking John Bolt.
Yeah. Didn't he say? Yeah, he did say that. He was like on live
Yeah.
TV. He was like, "Yeah, we do."
On live fucking TV. Dude, these people never fucking die. They grow old. They grow old and they just don't die.
Lizard people.
You have war criminals like Kissinger, and he's like 99 years old and he's still living, man.
Which viewers? I don't know where else you're streaming. Close your ears. I'm gonna be very happy when fucking when Dick Cheney goes. I'm be
Bro, but
celebrating.
he already did so much harm.
I know, and there's nothing. Well, I'm not gonna say there's nothing we can do about it now, but there's nothing the U.S. is going to do about it. So the next best thing is him dying. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. This is a personal vendetta. I am usually. I've said this. I always say this. Violence is necessary sometimes.
Oh, since you're looking at this lifting out of poverty thing, this isn't true. There's still poverty in China. It's absolute poverty. If you Google the definition for absolute poverty, you'll understand more of it. So it's like the very, very bare minimum. Basically, you put a roof over someone's head, you give them clean drinking water, you give them a toilet. Like that would be absolute poverty. So that number, basically, there's no more absolute poverty. They took people who lived out in the middle of nowhere, who couldn't earn any wages, or very little, very, 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 very little wages. They took them and they moved them into newly built like towns, villages, cities, just so they can live a more modern life. That's what they did.
I got you. I mean, that makes sense.
But there's still poverty in China because it's such a big country, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah.
The World Bank and the IDF, I don't really trust them that much, but
Yeah, but you have a Western organization saying something decent about China. Pigs can fly.
yeah. I am gonna go to bed.
Me too. I think we're all going. Well, Jimmy's up late. Here, actually, let me end the stream here.
Oh, I gotta go to bed too.
I need to talk to you gents real fast. But to the streamers, dude, I'm broken. That's how tired I am. To the viewers, I'm a streamer. We're streamers. We're the people.